Hey, loves. So today I want to talk about. I'm seeing that Roxy cousin Kiwana and I think one is her aunt Janelle. They're basically airing out all her dirty laundry and the role she played when around the time Naziyah came up missing. Apparently, she claimed she wasn't here, and that's why she didn't do anything about it. And they're now saying she was here a couple of days before she went missing. I don't know. Family turning on family. It's getting closer to the trial. I know Jarvis goes to court in 2 days on the 7th. Um, and I think that's going to be a pre-trial hearing. So shout outs to spiritual detective. She's the one that spoke with the aunt and the cousin. If you guys want to check her page out, you can just put in spiritual detective. Very beautiful soul. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get the video played. It's gonna be my first time watching it also. So let's watch it together.
CPS was trying to check it.
Okay. So April 2022, I filed a CPS report on Shannon and Annette due to Shannon calling me and telling me about allegations of sexual abuse that were made towards Jarvis by a child that was at her home during a birthday party. I didn't originally file the report in February when she told me about the information because she told me, and as well as Annette told me, that they had already contacted the police and authorities and they were involved. But eventually I found out that that was not true, and that's what brought me to make the report in April of 22. So that was about it.
Okay, so at that point, Shannon was aware, and Shannon, because I did see on the news where there was a text where Shannon said that the CPS had contacted her and Annette, right?
That was the day after I made the report. She texted me and told me they had contacted her.
Okay, so let's fast forward to September. What took place in September, or when was it that Roxy came into play?
February 2024.
So that wasn't until February 2024. Okay.
Well, she was on some Facebook posts back in 2022, like September 2022. But as far as actually being involved in like making reports and stuff like that, that wasn't.
And so y'all, I think what's going on is she got it sped up because it's an hour and 57 minutes, I think it is long. So if she sped it up, apparently it could have been 3 hours. And so she sped it up to make it shorter. Here we go.
Well, actively involved in the situation was in 2024.
So when the Facebook post was posted, was that after April 2022 when Kenya posted?
Oh yeah, Kenya posted in September of 2022. That was the first post on Facebook in September of 2022.
The only reason why I'm really bringing that up is because I seen a live too where Roxy was mentioned in September 2023 quite often.
Yeah, that was another time that a Facebook page was made.
Yeah, okay. It started in September of 2022.
The first page Facebook post was made in September 22.
And then so yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So when they post about it, they only post the one from September of 2023, but originally that post was made again in 2022.
That's where it started. It was a different one post in 2022, like when Kenya first found out about it. And then I don't even know what had happened for Kenya to make another post in 2023. Oh, Naziyah's brother ran away.
Right. In September 2023.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he ran away at the end of August, and she made a post in September about it. I guess when she found out that he had ran away. I'm not sure why.
Okay.
Wait, you mean why she made the post, or you just? Okay, so I would have to go back to 2022 to explain the first post.
Yeah, the first post she made because I guess after Kiwana had talked to her about what was going on, like as far as the CPS reports we had made, and we weren't getting any answers from CPS, and she just kind of contacted her like, "Hey, I need some advice because they're not talking to me at this point, and I'm just trying to find out what's really going on over there because I didn't contact the CPS, etc. And they wasn't talking to us. That's why Kenya called Annette and they had a falling out. But then Shannon and Marquita went on Facebook trying to put Kenya's business out, and then Kenya just basically responded to that post that they made about her, but she put Jarvis's information in the post, and then that's when Roxy and her was going back and forth about it. And
so it sounds like Kenya Kenya, was she making the post to did she do anything outside of making the Facebook post to help the situation with Naziyah?
Not
not at all. And if we go back to that particular date, it's been said as if I called her because, I needed her to make some noise about the situation, and that wasn't what it was. I just really needed somebody to talk to. We had been talking a bit, and that's it. I know that she had a lot of communication with Auntie Annette. So, just be conversing with her and telling her what happened. So originally she called my aunt, in which the child that went back and told, okay, she called her mama and spoke to her mama. And then she called Auntie Annette. However, when I first talked to her, it's been said who was I talking about in the house? Well, all three of the young ladies was in the house. So I wouldn't exclude Naziyah and talk about the other two. And I talk about Naziyah. That wouldn't make any sense because all three of them were there and he tried to do something inappropriate to all three of them. It's just that the other young lady went and told. She was
but that was different nights. Like the one little girl who had never been around him, who Kenya talked about to her mother to confirm the allegations or what was being said. He tried to do something to her that night, but the other allegations were from previous incidents. It wasn't in that same night.
Right. So what I'm saying is the conversation that I had with Kenya was about all the little girls because I've been hearing her make it as if Naziyah was excluded from the conversation. And that wouldn't have made sense. That's what I'm saying, because there were multiple incidents and the conversation was about what had happened.
All the girls.
With all the girls. And at that particular party, they were all, I'm talking about the party right now. At that particular party, all of them were there.
Yep, all three.
So I wouldn't
another little girl there too.
To talk about two and not talk about all of them. So I've been wanting to clarify that because I have been hearing that, almost like I excluded the conversation with it's being about Naziyah as well as all of them. I was talking about all of them.
Okay. Because that's the things that I heard too as well. Was as if you guys were aware but didn't do anything but make a phone call. So could we touch on the things that you guys did do once you found out the abuse that was taking place with Naziyah and the other children, and knowing what Jarvis was, a monster, and how he was doing what he was doing to the children, other than a phone call? Because I'm sure there was more things.
Yeah, before 2022, when I first found out that Jarvis was a sex offender and he was not on the sex offender registry list, I'm the one who made a complaint letting them know that he was a sex offender and he was on the list, and then he was in a relationship with my niece and they had a daughter together. And then eventually he was put on a sex offender list like 5 or 6 months later. After before even making the CPS report on April 13th of 2022, I went to the police. And that's when Roxy and her was going back and forth about it. And
so it sounds like Kenya, was she making the post to did she do anything outside of making the Facebook post to help the situation with Naziyah?
No, not at all. And if we go back to that particular date, it's been said as if I called her because, I needed her to make some noise about the situation, and that wasn't what it was. I just really needed somebody to talk to. We had been talking a bit, and that's it. I know that she had a lot of communication with Auntie Annette. So, just be conversing with her and telling her what happened. So originally she called.
And the city that Shannon lived at, and they are the ones who told me to contact CPS because I didn't have enough information. And I didn't know the little girl personally. I didn't know her mother. I didn't know her name. All I knew is that she was a relative of their side of the family, and that she was in the house, and Shannon said that she made allegations. So they said, well, you need to contact CPS. So I contacted CPS. After not hearing from CPS, because I was told it could take like 30 to 60 days, to do their investigation, depending on what was found. We waited, still hadn't heard from CPS contact. I tried to contact CPS on my report and couldn't get any information. I tried to reach back out to find out what's going on. By that time, Kiwana had got word. When I found out, people on my side of the family knew that I was filing CPS, and they knew to a certain extent why I had filed. Because these were allegations at that time. I knew he was a pedophile, but I wasn't there to witness anything. I was only told by Shannon. And I believed the kids because I didn't believe children that, would lie about something like that.
Right.
So, but I started getting phone calls from other people on my side of the family telling me that Shannon was calling them, saying that I was lying on her, calling CPS, and, she was upset with me, and telling her, that's my auntie. She's not even your real auntie. So she did this to me. She gonna stab you in the back too. And that's when Kiwana reached out to me because we hadn't talked in a minute. Mm-hmm. And she said, hey, what is this I'm hearing about CPS? I talked to Shannon. Shannon was upset with you, bad mouthing you, saying that you called CPS on her. And I explained to her, like, look, I called because Shannon contacted me and told me this. And she was like, oh no. She was like, I told her. She kind of told me what you told me, but it wasn't the full story. It was only her part of it. Mm-hmm. And she said, and I agree with you, like, regardless of what was going on, the authorities should have been involved. CPS should have been called. If she wasn't going to do it, you did exactly what you were supposed to do. So at that point, Kiwana decided to make a CPS report. Kiwana was able to talk to someone after maybe about 3 or 4, maybe 4 weeks after you filed yours.
Right.
And that's when we were told that the children denied the allegations. Mm-hmm. And that was pretty much it. They wouldn't disclose anything else. The investigation was done. The children had denied the allegations, and that was it. So at that point, we were trying to figure out, like, well, how can you file, complaints, or anything like that. So we ended up filing more CPS reports due to other incidents that we had heard about that were going on in the home. And I also like wrote a letter asking them to explain why the case was unsubstantiated. Never heard from CPS about that.
Right.
We try to keep in touch with the kids, see if we get, like not just gain access because of the situation, but gain access because we miss the kids. With that time, I have been alienated from the family due to filing the CPS report. They wouldn't let us see the kids. Eventually, it went from not being able to see the kids to not being able to talk to the kids to not even talking really to the adults in the family. I probably would talk to Shannon occasionally via text message. And it was very short. And that went on for about a year. And, we constantly every time we would hear something about what's going on, we constantly made a CPS report. We contacted the police. When her brother ran away, we talked to the detective and told him everything that was going on in the house. And his only concern is he's safe, not about what was going on in the house, not making a report, not anything.
Wow. So did the children, well, Naziyah in particular, did she ever come to either of you and say what she was experiencing or insinuate that she was being abused?
Not to me. The last time I saw Naziyah was June 18th of 2022.
No. So she never said to me, I would have to go back into that date, the date that Shannon told me Janelle had called CPS on her. Me and her had a back and forth. I expressed to her it didn't make sense. Children don't lie like that. And so upon me leaving, the kids was always in my car. My kids, her kids, they always will be in my car listening to music. So I took that as a moment for me to ask a few questions, that I can get in. And so I did ask the girls in that moment, I told them, if you needed to talk to me, you could. I asked them if something was going on. They both denied it. And for me, it was more so me paying attention to their body language when they answered my questions. So I probably got a good, not even 10 minutes in with conversation before Shannon came out the house. I can see her coming down the driveway. So I got to trying to hurry up with the conversation and get as many answers out of the girls that I could. And then, once she got to the vehicle, that was the conversation. And it was pretty much over. So they didn't need to say anything to me because once I got home, I already knew. I had my mind made up that I was going to reach out to Janelle and see what was really going on. So that was enough for me. Just hearing her perspective and her tell me what she had been told by Shannon and everything. So from there it was on. I got to call them. We both got to calling. There were attorneys contacted. We were trying to get custody. Janelle had her own personal attorney. I had not just spoke to attorneys trying to get custody, but I also was speaking to the main office over there on Forest. I was speaking to the worker inside, and she was trying to help me, with getting some type of arrangements. But the problem was, not that we weren't trying to get the kids or anything, but it's nothing we could have done without a child admitting to the abuse. That's what they needed. They claimed it's nothing they could do. They needed a child to say they weren't safe, they didn't feel safe, or that they were being hurt.
And because nobody said that they were being hurt, although they were, or in some way being abused, rather verbally, physically, they never said anything. So you guys weren't able to proceed, correct?
The lawyer had told me, he was like, I can't go before a judge with just because you say this is happening to get emergency guardianship. He said, I need at least the child to say that they don't feel safe. They don't have to go into details. We'll figure out the details later, but they have to say, I don't want to go back there. I don't feel safe in order for him to file the guardianship. He was like, I can file it, but he was like, I'm telling you right now, they're not going to side with you.
So I was trying to talk, a child or so into being the one that would say, hey, I'm not safe. This is happening. I'm not going to disclose what particular children, but it was never, they would never confess and say, I don't feel safe or I'm being hurt. And not only that, but they were questioning the kids around the adults. They were questioning them in the same household, around them. Okay. Yeah. And so
they were afraid to even, tell the truth. They were afraid to say anything. So I never understood that. Like, it seemed like, well, I guess they weren't named as the abuser. So that's why they did it. But at the same time, if you see the children are denying it, I don't understand it. But it's a lot of stuff that I don't understand. I'm just not learning about by going through this process.
I agree.
The system is not set up to listen to the reporter. It's set up to protect the family that the children are living with. They rather not make a mistake of taking the children out of the home and there's nothing going on. It's favor towards that, removing children. And it's not correct, but instead of removing any child and then dealing with the consequences of that later, they're making a mistake. They rather not make that mistake of removing the child and nothing's going on. And I would assume it's probably hard to place children too. So,
and one thing's for sure, I have seen and know of a few people from past and present that has had CPS take their children for nothing. For reasons that they didn't even need to take their children for. They could have, seen that they got some form of help, the parenting classes, maybe, you and your child arguing too much. You didn't pop your child because your child stayed out overnight, or just stupid stuff. I mean,
but these
I've seen it
allegations
happen with those that I've loved the most.
yeah,
And so
these allegations were
not it's no
like, I just feel like they should have did a cross reference of his name.
Yeah.
I didn't even know, like, I didn't see the response to the report until the news released it, and blatantly Shannon lied, he lied, everybody involved, all the adults involved lied, and he admitted to them that he was a sex offender in the CPS report.
Yes, he did.
And I feel like if they had, that was one thing. The fact that he's being accused, and then the fact that he was a sex offender. But not only did they cross-reference his name to see if it was involved in any other current cases, they couldn't have, because he was in cases, 2 or 3 other cases prior to me even making the case about Naziyah. It was 2015, 2018. He was in other cases. So that would have warranted a more extensive investigation, but that wasn't done.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely seen that in the report that he blatantly said he was a SA, or a sex offender, SO. But how do you feel like Annette handled all of the allegations? Did you guys have a personal conversation with Annette at any point?
I talked, me and my we don't agree. Basically, I'm really not sure. I'm only assuming why Annette doesn't have a relationship with me, and I think it's because I don't co-sign the things that she does with the children. Not as far as like physical or anything like that, but I don't feel the kids are treated like kids. So we were at odds about that. We agreed to disagree, and we weren't just talking. But when I found out that Jarvis was a sex offender, I contacted her and told her, like, hey, do you know that this guy's a sex offender? And he's, he was my age, 30-something years old, and Shannon was only 18 at the time, or I think she had just turned 19 or something like that. And she told me I don't get in my children's business. And I'm like, okay, but with him being a sex offender and
at some point he should have gotten
19 years old, you should be questioning, like, when did they start talking, especially considering he was my age.
Right. Do you think Jarvis met Shannon earlier than 19?
Yes.
Yeah, he did. So she was aware of him several years prior to.
I'm not sure when she found
you
out.
telling her.
Yeah, I'm not sure when she found out he was a SO, but I do believe that he was having a relationship with her, or talking to her or whatever, way before she turned 18 years old. And then the second conversation I had with Annette was after the abuse allegations in February of 2022. I contacted her the next morning.
Out of everybody, Janelle had those kids' best interest.
To find out, like, hey, what's going on? Shannon had told me what was going on. Oh, she said, we're handling it. And I said, what do you mean you're handling? Did you guys call the police, et cetera, et cetera? She's like, yes, I'm going to contact the police. I'm going to talk to him. I'm going to talk to the kids. I'm like, well, you don't need to talk to the kids. Just leave it alone. Just let the police handle it. Let them question the kids. They have people who are trained to question children in situations like this. And I was like, and if they, just assure the children to tell the truth, whatever. And that, she was like, I got this. She just basically brushed off the conversation and said that they were handling it. And I believed it because Shannon had told me, oh yeah, the kids I got this thing. I got to put the kids in counseling. But then after a while, I was like, didn't you say the kids was in counseling? Well, now you're saying that they're not going today. And I'm like, well, what is CPS saying? You said CPS was involved. Stuff just didn't add up. And that's what made me actually make the CPS report, because I realized they weren't telling the truth. But Annette knew. She knew that he was an SO. And she knew about the allegations that were made. And she knew about that night at the party. And she knew about the allegations that the other 2 girls had made against him as well.
Right.
Okay. How was Naziyah's relationship with Annette? Like, when you were around her, this question for either of you. Were they close? Because to me, it seemed like she tried to put it off at the preliminary hearing that her and Naziyah was close, and Naziyah can go to her and talk to her about anything.
She was a guardian. She kept a roof over their head. She kept a roof over their head. She made everything appear to be all right. She kept a roof over their head. She fed them something.
Right.
She clothed them. But I don't know. I don't believe that they were close, because I don't see a child having a close relationship with anybody not disclosing these things, because this started way before 2022.
What Naziyah's brother said when he ran away, the home he went to, it was so much better because he was basically treated like a child. He was showed love. Yeah, the house was definitely missing love being showed. A lot of people just tolerate the children, feed them, clothe them, put a roof over their head. But it's other necessities that need to be given to children. And it seems like the mother, Shannon, or no one gave that to these children.
And you guys seen the video of her interacting with the kids before school. Was that a normal behavior of Annette?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes it was like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Sometimes she'd be nice, and then sometimes she would be like that.
Yeah,
that was how she was when I was a child.
Yeah, that's just Auntie Nat. Everybody knows that. That's how she is. You know, I mean, yeah, that's how she was. Very much.
Yeah.
When it comes to is whether her and Naziyah was close. I mean, that was her grandmother, and she saw her as her grandmother, and like she said, she was her guardian. But you know, to be able to go and have a conversation with her if something's going on in her life, or she messed up and she just want to talk about it or whatever. No, you walked a very thin line with what you said.
And
as far
on
as
ice,
Auntie Nat was concerned,
those kids walk on eggshells.
yeah, I mean, you know, you had to be very careful about how you worded things when you were wording things for Auntie Nat.
Because if they were close, you know, when these allegations came out and the children said what they said, why you didn't do nothing then? The
Right.
CPS report, even if you didn't believe the children or me, CPS came out and questioned you. Why didn't that alarm you then?
Right.
And that's what's weird. It's like, what was she trying to protect? Like, why does it seem like, or why do y'all feel like she was trying to protect Jarvis in a sense? Like, did her and Jarvis ever have a relationship, or were they close, or have you guys ever known anything about that? Or
yeah, we've heard rumors, but my reasons why I feel like she wasn't trying to protect Jarvis, she was trying to protect her income.
Right.
That's the main concern with her right now, is she's lost income.
Right. And at this point, she's probably going to continue to lose income at this point.
Yep. So that's been the last person I talked to that's kind of close to that part of the family. The concern was the fact that she lost income, not that Naziyah is missing, not that Jarvis has been charged in her death, not that her body has not been filed, but basically her income is tight now because Naziyah is no longer there, and her brother has aged out of the system. He turned 18, so her income is tight.
Right. Are the children still with her, as far as you guys know, her and Shannon?
Yeah, as far as we know.
Okay. Have you ladies ever had any interactions with Jarvis? Like, what was he like in person?
You know, Shannon and I have been close since, let me see, when they graduated from high school. Because I was kind of like, my family's estranged for the family because of a lot of the dysfunction. My father, my grandmother didn't really deal with it that much. It was an on and off again kind of deal with them with a long handle spoon type relationship. But from the time that Shannon became pregnant to the time that I last seen her children or Naziyah in 2022, I probably could say I saw Jarvis 6 times. He was weird. Like, you knew when they were talking, like when him and her were talking, because they would be on the phone or text messages and stuff, or she would bring him up. But then sometimes she would say, "Oh, I'm not dealing with him anymore." Then the next thing you know, she was pregnant.
Right. Because I mean, a lot of times I would, you know,
she would always tell you she wasn't with him, she wasn't dealing with him because they was going through all that drama, getting dysfunctional type relationships. But the times that I saw him was very short. I think the longest I have ever talked to Jarvis is maybe 5 minutes, and that was when the oldest daughter was born. Prior to me even finding out that he was a sex offender. Other than that, if he saw you coming, he scattered.
So he never really.
And this is because I would call him out on stuff like, Shannon need this, Shannon need that, the baby need this, the baby. Like, yo, they living with me, but you gonna have to, you know, you the daddy, you gonna have to chip in. So I was calling him out on BS.
Right.
So he really didn't want to be bothering me at all. Like, he never really talked to me. He knew who I was. At the baby shower, I gave Shannon the baby shower for her second child. He came late. He's supposed to be coming to help with setup and all that. He came late, stayed 20 minutes maybe, and left. Didn't stay for the baby shower. He did a little something, I guess, contribute to the setting up or whatever, and left. But he really didn't come around me.
It seemed like he didn't want to be around.
You know, I probably seen him a good, I don't know, just guessing off the top of my head, probably about 3 times, if that. And that's before I knew he was, you know, a sex offender.
After I
seen him once because she had a little birthday party at a hotel on Jefferson for one of the children. He was outside basically putting his hands on her, and I came outside, and of course I got involved and hit him a few times and told him to, you know, go on it. I wasn't gonna let him put his hands on her. And you know, she wasn't like scared though. She was in his face like, you know, neither one of them was like, oh no, you know, she was like cussing him out because something that had to do with a female. And he went to try to put his hands around her throat or something or the other, and I ended up hearing it, the commotion. So I ran out there and as fast as I could, and I got involved. And he got to trying to tell me, you know, she was tripping or whatnot, and I'm pulling her back like, come on, Shannon, just let him go on because, you know, your kid's up here or whatever. And he called her names and pulled off, you know, he started off, and That's one time I seen him, and then another time I seen him. He was sitting outside in his vehicle. But again, all these were times prior to me even knowing what he had done, because I didn't find out what he had done until when was it? It was when I called June of 22, right? Yeah, 22. That's when I found out.
So he seemed like, based off y'all interactions, he was kind of controlling and abusive, physically abusive to Shannon too.
Yeah,
well,
he was weird.
I'm not gonna say like he just would whoop her around the house, but I mean he just had that type of I think he was like that with all his women, pretty aggressive. I think that's how he was. As far as how and it's almost like she liked it. She liked it. She was very proud of Jarvis. I mean,
yeah, he just seemed like a womanizer.
Yeah.
Once I started finding out all about the other women and the other children and stuff like that, I was like, what is you dealing with him for? I could never understand that. And at one point she told me, but that's my children's father. I said, I wouldn't care what he was. I wouldn't be dealing with him and he mistreating me.
Mm-hmm.
Like at some point you got to say, okay, that's enough. You got girls and they watching you, let him do you like this. Do you want them to think that that's normal for them to be treated?
Right.
Like that's not normal. But he just seemed very like for instance, one time, Christmas time, Shannon had to go get some gifts for the kids. She asked him to watch the kids. We figured we was going to run and do what we had to do, be back in an hour. Well, it took us a little bit longer than an hour. I think it took maybe about an hour and a half, maybe 2. I'm not sure. But when we got back, he cussed her out so bad. Them your kids.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't like he was going to buy them anything or do anything. But them your kids, you can't watch your kids for 2 dang on hours while I go run a couple errands. For the kids. He was not happy. He cursed her out. And I'm like, hold on, my car moved when I move. So she was in my car. And if you wanted her to move at a certain time and be at a certain place, then you should have took her.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, so all this getting upset and frustrated about where you got to be and what you got to do, that's not my problem. And he went on about his business, doing weird stuff. The truck was parked around the corner. I forgot about that one. I saw it on trial. And I was like, that's what he used to do when he was at Shannon's house. Like, parking around the corner.
Why y'all think he was doing that? Like,
because he was handling them.
Yeah.
And a lot of them knew about each other. And he was making sure that they couldn't pinpoint him. They was doing drive-bys, I guess.
Wow.
Ooh-wee.
So Shannon was fully aware of the other women and they had no problem with it.
Yeah, she knew about the other women, but I'm assuming that he probably was telling her he wasn't dealing with them. But I mean, all the stuff, the red flags was there about everything. The red flags were there. The babies were there.
Yeah, because she had women calling her and telling her, all kinds of things,
arguing with them on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
The flags were there. She just told to wave them or ignore one. I don't know. But she knew what was going on with a lot of them, and then some of them were surprises, but then those surprises stuck around and she just dealt with it. And then she would try to say, oh, we're not together, but you still having babies now.
Right.
Y'all not together, but these babies keep on coming.
Right. It's been said that Jarvis was in relations with Marquita and Annette. Is that true?
Now, I've heard rumors about that. I don't know firsthand about any of that, but I have heard rumors.
Yes, ma'am.
And some of those rumors came from inside of the family, so it wasn't like what I heard on the internet. So
yeah, well, Marquita was dealing with him first, from my understanding.
Okay.
And so, yeah, she was dealing with him first, and then Shannon started dealing with him. I heard it was a little tension throughout the years about that, So from what I know, yes, he was dealing with Marquita and Shannon. Now, the rumors about him dealing with their mother, that came about.
Yeah, what was that like? Do y'all feel like that could have been possibly true? Or I'm asking too because I felt like they could have been just based off what I
I'm gonna say this for instance. Say for instance, yo, and this is not just with Shannon, this is with her other children as well. Say you're in a relationship with a guy. The relationship is not a good relationship, it's very toxic.
Mm.
You stop dealing with the guy, but your mama still deal with the guy.
The guy. Yeah, that happens a lot.
The guy still come over to the house. She's still calling the guy to do favors for her. The guy riding her around in her car.
Yeah.
On his car.
Did they have a car? What would be the reason?
Yeah, she had a car, but prior to, when she didn't have one.
Okay.
And then you come to the family, and it's a birthday party. Or say Thanksgiving or Labor Day or something like that. You come over with your kids and your ex there that dogs you out that you're trying to get away from because of you didn't find and he there.
And there's multiple children.
Or you go over there and he over there doing odd jobs and stuff around the house.
Yeah, that's not just for Shannon. That's That's something she did regularly.
That's something she did with another one of her children.
I never understood that because you know, once you pretty much over. You moved on, and not just that, but I don't want to see a Negro coming at them. I got daughters myself, and even with my son, I don't want to see nobody that did my child wrong. In fact, they don't want to see me. So there's that.
Yeah. Then another incident. This is even after the sexual abuse allegations and everything.
Right.
Say for instance, it was a situation where she had to go and take some money to one of her children, not Shannon, but another child. And Jarvis took her in her car to take the money to this other child. This is after the sexual allegations. This was like in April of 23.
April 23. Okay.
April 23. And I was like, shit, what? He was who? And I'm like, what? Like, it's one thing for Shannon to deal with him. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying it was right, but that makes sense. But for your mama?
Right.
So is there a possibility that Jarvis was living with Annette at some point? Because I'm still trying to figure out too, how did Jarvis have so much access to Naziyah?
Wherever he laid his hat was his home. He had one address that he used, I guess, for reporting, like for reasons for that or whatever, for his SO. But you saw he moved around. He had a whole schedule. I go from here to 10 to 2 and move
and
over.
Annette had said that he didn't come in the house. She said he did not come in the house and he stayed out in the car.
Well, her granddaughter said different.
Right, and he said different. He said different. The grandchild said different.
He even told her he told more of the truth than she did.
So it's like, what is she really hiding? But you say she's really trying to keep up with the money and the checks.
Like, because you can't do, like, all of this is going on. Foster care is gonna look at you. CPS is gonna look at you. During this whole time, I heard it was discovered that she was still receiving money for Naziyah all the way up until June of 2024. She was still receiving money for her brother all the way up until around that time, like August or something.
Wow.
He had been in school since 2023.
Wow.
You can't receive government funds for a child who's not in the home.
Right.
And Naziyah, we know she went missing January 9th. So why was you still receiving income from her up until June of 2024? You were supposed to report that within, I think, 7 days. It's not even something you can wait 30 days to report. You have to report that within 7 days that the child isn't in the house.
Right.
That was her, man. I don't believe it was to protect Jarvis. It may have been to protect herself because she knew she was wrong. It may have been to protect her income. It might have even been able to protect Shannon, but she could care less about what happened to Jarvis.
Do y'all you got anything you want to say, Kiwana? Before I ask another question.
On that subject, not really.
Because I do want to
pretty much summed it up.
Ask about the Butts family. Were you guys familiar with Jarvis's family at any point? And do y'all feel like they could have done more in the situation with Naziyah as far as getting Jarvis to report? Or do y'all think they knew? Obviously, I feel like they knew.
I understand. I have met his sister once, back when Shannon's oldest daughter was a baby. She was very nice or whatever. Shannon would talk about her on occasion, saying she stopped by to see her oldest daughter, but it was few and far in between. Shannon also disclosed to me that their relationship was not close. They were estranged as well. They really didn't deal with Jarvis too much. And I talked to his sister. I'm close friends with one of Jarvis's family members. And we had discovered that some years before all this happened. I was like, oh, okay. Before even the sexual allegations, we had figured that out. So when all this stuff was going on, they didn't say anything to me because I guess the police had told them. But after it was released that his sister has potentially saw her there, they reached out to me to say, hey, we didn't want to say nothing before because of what the police had said, but we just want to say we are 100% in you guys' corner. He is a monster, and we hope he gets exactly what he deserves.
Okay, so you never heard his sister ever mention that she knew about Jarvis's behavior?
She said she didn't even find out he was an SO until they came to her house looking for him. She didn't know because they hadn't really talked. She said that he was not involved. They were not involved for many, many years. So their family was kind of divided as well. But she said she didn't have a relationship with him. She said she knew he had went to prison and she really didn't care what for. She didn't look it up or find out why or none of that. And she said she later found out that he was a SO. And she said it really didn't matter to her at that time because she said she didn't know about anything that was going on and she didn't have a relationship. She said she pretty much ran into him if it was like a cousin had something and they bump into each other passing through.
Or she just needed her car fixed at times. She would deal with it.
But she said she was more, I guess King and her knew each other. They grew up together or something. So it wasn't always just to go up there for Jarvis. Yeah, I know his mom. Like she said, sometimes they would run into each other through the mother. Or past, he might give her money to help the mother and stuff. So she said she wasn't really. She kind of dealt with Jarvis from a distance. So I don't know.
But yeah, I've heard of her contacting Shannon to tell Shannon what type of person her brother was. Yeah, she had contacted Shannon and expressed to Shannon what type of person he was. Like She would tell Shannon not to mess with her brother, and that she need not to deal with him. And,
that was the first
she had
conversation
called
they had.
and expressed things to Shannon as far as she shouldn't deal with her brother.
Yeah, that's what she said. That was one of the first conversations she had with Shannon when their oldest daughter was born at my house, in my apartment. Was, I don't know, basically she was trying to tell her woman to woman, like, he gonna do what he gonna do.
Yeah,
he's not no good.
He this type of person. He that type of person. She did. She warned her about all the
women.
She
called him a gigolo. So she told Shannon, this is not what you want. Take care of your baby and move on with your life, because whatever, the stuff y'all gonna go through, you don't have to go through that. He's not gonna change. This is what he do.
She told her she did.
But as far as any sexual abuse or anything like that, she never said anything about it. But she did tell her, like, it's not worth all that you're going through with him, because he's not going to change. This is what he do.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. That's interesting. I guess that's been sitting on my mind. Like, how did the Butts family not know that he was, a pedo of some sort or a sex offender?
I'm pretty sure somebody in the family knew.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's, I don't, I'm not trying to say nothing towards them because I don't know them. I never met any of his family. And with all this going on with this scenario, I'm sure they want to stay far, far away from us. And that's a lot to deal with, and him being a part of that family and what he's done to Naziyah and other children, I can't say that I believe nobody didn't know. I can't say that because, somebody had to know something.
Yeah, somebody knew something.
It's as simple as Google.
The only person I have spoken to is his cousin and his sister. I haven't spoken to anyone else, but I'm pretty sure somebody knew something, because like she said, he was closer to other people.
Yeah,
it just wasn't her.
I get too if she wasn't close. I don't know. Even though me and my brothers don't, we go through our share, this and that. I'm just a nosy sister. I'm going. If I don't talk to them, I'm gonna still be knowing their business somehow. Somebody gonna tell me something.
Unless the people who know keep secrets like Annette and them do.
Yeah,
right.
I don't know.
And I guess too, because I was wondering the night that Naziyah went missing and Jarvis' sister said that she had seen her that night. I guess I was wondering if she had any prior relationship with Naziyah, or if she had seen Naziyah, or if she was familiar with how Naziyah looked. And,
years ago,
okay,
like when Naziyah was like 3 or 4, she said she didn't see her, the person's face. She said she just realized she thought it was one of Jarvis's girlfriends, but she said that, dang, she's small. And then she said, but she never saw the face. She just remembered the jacket, and when stuff started like coming out on the news and social media, like after just February 14th, that's when she said, wait a minute. And no, I think one of the girlfriends called her or something. And she said, well, why is they doing all of that? And that's when the girlfriend told her, because of the missing girl. She said, well, what missing girl? And then she started trying to figure out, put 2 and 2 together. Like, what did you talk about? What missing girl? I thought he went to jail for something else or whatever. And she was like, no, they came here looking for the missing girl. And then that's when she went and talked to other people and figured out, like, you was there that day. She was like, what day? She said, the day, so I guess that's the reason why.
See, now I got to go back because not saying that you're wrong, but I thought that she said she noticed that there was a little girl in the vehicle. And
she said she didn't know it was a girl until they told her it was a little girl.
Well, actually, Janelle, I believe Kiwana may be right. She said she asked Jarvis who the little girl was.
Yeah, she knew it was a little girl for sure.
She said it was
King's niece.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I just was wondering what y'all thought about that. Not to blame anybody. It's just we have
not blaming nobody. Like I said, it's I don't know any of that family of their family, and I can't blame them for what Jarvis did wrong. You know what I'm saying? That's like somebody blaming me for what one of my family members did wrong.
Well, speaking of blame, I feel like you are being blamed. According to Roxy, Mark, and Kenya.
Yeah, say that. You're right. I've been blamed. We've been blamed, honey. You're right about that. We have been blamed. And which is crazy. Yeah, I don't even understand that. That makes no sense.
It's just been a lot of animosities towards you. In particular, it seems like the target has been Kiwana mostly, by way of Roxy and Kenya and even Mark D at this point. So could y'all explain, or how did Roxy even come into alignment with Mark D? And then can we talk about the protesting? Because I do remember seeing Darnell out there with Roxy at one point protesting with Roxy.
Yeah, I was out there. It was Darnell's idea. She's the one that said we should protest down. It was her idea. And I was down there too. I was down there. I got pictures. I guess I just wasn't in any of the ones that's surfacing. But I do have pictures. Well,
what I
understand out there. But I was out there.
Is Roxy made Mark at one of the searches after February 14th. Yeah, after February 14th, Mark set up a search. I originally talked to Mark about the situation because we have been going back and forth with Detroit Public School Police for weeks with no answers. And it really wasn't any information on the news stations. It wasn't getting any play on the news stations. I think they played it once for 10 seconds. So I reached out to Mark like, hey, can you kind of mention this on your podcast or whatever, and or get it out there because we looking for it in hopes of somebody like seeing it and saying, oh, she over here, she in this house, I saw her here, or whatever. So he did, and there was a search like right after February 14th. I want to say it's around maybe the 18th of February or something like that, or the 20th. I can't remember the exact date, but they ended up doing a search, and that's where he met Roxy.
Yeah, she went to the search, and she met Mark, introduced herself.
So at any point did Mark have a discussion with you prior to Roxy becoming part of 7 Mile Radio? Did y'all have a conversation like, hey, I'm working with Roxy, or how you feel about this? Because you've been knowing Mark for how long?
We went to high school. Well, I went to Osborne with him for 2 years.
Okay, so y'all knew each other for
since we were about 14 years old, 14. And then over the years, we were running into each other. Most recently, we ran into each other. One reason why I felt comfortable with contacting him was he was doing some work with one of my cousins. And I saw him again. We would speak. We was cool in high school. Never had any issues that I recall or anything. He was always cordial and would speak and say, hey, smile like, old high school classmates do. No, he never discussed anything about Roxy with me becoming part of 7 Mile Radio. Neither does he have to. That's his platform. I didn't really mind her being involved in the platform. Like, wonderful. That's great. If that's what you want to do.
Yeah, because in one of her lives, Roxy's live, she was kind of coming off like Mark chose me type of attitude, So
I know exactly which one.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. Honestly, I just recently fully watched that. I would stray away from watching thanks to Janelle, because she would be the one to tell me, don't even watch it. Don't watch it. It's going to upset you. Don't look at it. So like, I would probably see glimpses of like something, say someone told me of a particular part, but I never really fully watched any of those videos. But I have been, they've been going around, and I did see the one that you're talking about. She was expressing that he wanted her, and what is it that you said, around him and so on?
Like Mark chose me. He chose me, and he wanted me to be a part of 7 Mile Radio.
Well, let me explain that. Okay, so there was a lot of lies put out, right? There was a lot of lies put out on Mark's platform. I don't understand why that was done. It never made sense to me, because I don't think that I nor Janelle had ever did anything to deserve him, nor her, nor Kenya saying anything towards us, about us, in no type of way. So I was completely lost. However, it was said that I was in some way flirtatious with Mark. And so that's never happened. Never happened. Now, Mark has pulled up to my place of living, and we have done like an exchange for something he had it. I was purchasing. I'm not gonna, say exactly what, but there's that. And we've had conversations as far as Roxy was concerned. I didn't ever say anything malicious. I just was like, there was a few things that she was saying, and I was expressing to him, being as though, they were on his platform, that they may need to discuss it, because I think that she should be honest about it, because I didn't want to see nobody attacking her about it. So I was basically being a big cousin and saying, she needs to express she was in the city prior to Naziyah come up missing. I don't think that nobody would see that as her doing something wrong. Other than
Wanda was able to talk to someone after maybe about 3 or 4, maybe 4 weeks after you filed yours.
Right.
And that's when we were told that the children denied the allegations, and that was pretty much it. They wouldn't disclose anything else. The investigation was done, the children had denied the allegations, and that was it. So at that point, we were trying to figure out, like, well, how can you file, complaints, or anything like that. So we ended up filing more CPS reports due to other incidents that we had heard about that were going on in the home. And I also wrote a letter asking them to explain why the case was unsubstantiated. Never heard from CPS about that.
Right.
We try to keep in touch with the kids, see if we get, not just gain access because of the situation, but gain access because we miss the kids. With that time, I have been alienated from the family due to filing the CPS report. They wouldn't let us see the kids. Eventually, it went from not being able to see the kids to not being able to talk to the kids to not even talking really to the adults in the family. I probably would talk to Shannon occasionally via text message. And it was very short. And that went on for about a year. And, we constantly every time we would hear something about what's going on, we constantly made CPS reports. We contacted the police. When her brother ran away, we talked to the detective and told him everything that was going on in the house. And his only concern is he's safe, not about what was going on in the house, not making a report, not anything.
Wow. So did the children, Naziyah in particular, did she ever come to either of you and say what she was experiencing or insinuate that she was being abused?
Not to me. The last time I saw Naziyah was June 18th of 2022.
No. So she never said to me, I would have to go back into that date, the date that Shannon told me Janelle had called CPS on her. Me and her had a back and forth. I expressed to her it didn't make sense. Children don't lie like that. And so upon me leaving, you know, the kids was always in my car. My kids, her kids, they always will be in my car listening to music. So I took that as a moment for me to ask a few questions, you know, that I can get in. And so I did ask the girls in that moment, you know, I told them, like, you know, if you needed to talk to me, you could. I asked them if something was going on. They both denied it. Then her saying, well, what did you guys do? And what was you guys doing? And, you know, and so a lot of that stuff then. And for the ones that, oh, well, Roxy, did you know? No, I didn't. Because like I said, if I would have known all of this, it would have been a whole different ball game. It would have been a whole different ball game. Y'all would have seen a few mug shots of me. Several. And I would have been smiling in every one. It would have been assault on Shannon, assault on, like, reacting, you know, in ways that I probably would have, because it would anger me when I would hear about it. So even though I wasn't watching, I was hearing about it. Like, you know, why would she say that? And why would they say, you know, this, that, and the other? I have no clue. But what I can say is I did have a conversation with Mark about Roxy, you know, being honest about being in Detroit and her being honest about the fact that she didn't move here as a result to fighting and helping with Naziyah. That was all that I was saying. And so I don't know if they felt the need to do some type of you know, demising our character or making us look bad because, you know, maybe they felt like that with Hemorrhage, what they had going on. And so I just felt like they tried to make us look bad. And I don't understand that. Mark, no, I never flirted with him. In fact, me and Janelle, I called him on a three-way with her on the phone and I checked Mark and I said, why would you say something like that? And I said, Mark, have I ever came on to you? Right, Janelle? And I said, with her on the phone, what did I say?
You asked him, like, when did I say, why, you know, she basically asked him, when did I do that? Like, what did I say? You know, like, where did you get this from? And he didn't answer. He just kept on saying, Kiwana. And I'm like, did she do it or did she not? Like, just answer it or whatever. And if she did, we 40-some years old. Like,
yeah, let's be real. You know, I wasn't in a relationship at the time. At the time, if it was something that I had done, I wouldn't have had no reason to hide. I didn't get into a relationship till after. And you know, Mark isn't my type. Not at all. Like none of my exes. If you tell all my exes to drop their picture right now, you're gonna see that all my exes were handsome men. And I'm not even being funny. I'm just saying that Mark is not my idea of handsome. He may be to somebody else, but he's not to me. So you know, I could have said a lot of stuff about my exes, but I cannot say that they weren't easy on the eyes. Not none of them. Okay.
I was just gonna address that. Mark D did say that I think her name is Kiwana was flirting with him and liked him. So yeah.
So I didn't understand where he was coming from. You know, I really didn't. It threw me. And what threw me even more is that my cousins, not just one, but both of them was on this very platform. And they were like, you know, sharing with this idea that I had been flirtatious with him. And they were really coming for me. So I mean, that hurt me. First you hurt my feelings, then I get angry. I just couldn't believe that was happening, you know. And again, I had never watched it fully. I was just hearing about it. She was keeping me from watching that stuff. So yeah, to answer your question, I don't know why they did all of that. I really don't. I do know that you know, I had my times where I felt like they were trying to come between me and Janelle.
And she tried to tell me this, and I'm like, I don't see that or whatever. You know, I was always welcoming of anybody who wanted to support in any type of way. Like, for instance, after the 14th, and I believe Mark did his thing on the 18th, and then he also helped me get a interview with the first interview, the interview that caused all the controversy with Dina Sanafati, where we had was it Dina Sanafati? No, it wasn't. Dubnet. Dubnet.
Sure was. Yeah, sure was.
I don't know where I got that from, but and she suggested that we cover our faces.
Yeah, sure.
Because at that time it was so many avenues that were being explored related to the case. They want to protect us, our safety, our identities.
And then, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So when I did it, you know, we were trying to come to a place because, you know, I don't live in Detroit. I live over an hour away. So I was trying to find a place that was centrally located so that both Kiwana and I could make it to the interview and do it together. So we ended up doing it at a family member's studio. And it was Kiwana, myself, another family member who also made CPS reports and was actively involved in Naziyah's life. And then Mark, of course, I told him where it was at because he was the one who got us the interview. And then he asked me, could Roxy come? Sure. That was the first time I really remember, like, I've met Roxy before, but didn't remember meeting her because, like, I don't see her like I see Kiwana. Me and Kiwana grew up together, like, as kids. So I've been knowing her pretty much all my life. So I met Roxy one time years ago. Had never met her before, and then I got reacquainted with her again when she came to the thing. Right. And my cousin, the other cousin who's there, who has also been actively involved in Naziyah's life, she asked me, like, who is she? And I said, oh, that's Kenya cousin Roxy. And she said, well, why she got an attitude?
Right.
And I was like, I don't know. I don't know her. She was like, she been over there with her face put on. She got a whole problem with this situation. And I'm like, I don't know. Maybe it's something else going on. Maybe that's how, she upset. That's how she expressed her emotions or feeling. I don't know. And I really didn't care. I did the interview and I went home and left it as that, not even knowing that she had a problem with the way we did the interview. And then, like we said a lot, but they only posted like a 30-second clip of what we said. Mm-hmm. So, when you do news, everything doesn't come out. So I guess they didn't like the fact that we did that what we said wasn't complete. Look, I don't have any control on what they report. I did the interview. She suggested we protect our identities because of what was going on with the investigation. I felt like, I'm going to say something on here and leave it as that. And then it just got progressively worse from there.
Yeah.
So
was it?
Oh, go ahead.
It was being said like, well, we know why Janelle did it, but Kiwana, why you do it? Well, duh, if I'm with her and we're doing a clip, do you think they're going to show one person and ask the other person not to be shown? And not only that, for a lot of reasons, I'm not the social media person. I've never been the social media person. And not only that, but, let's suppose something was to go down. We
didn't know what we was doing.
Yeah, we didn't know what was going on. And so we just felt that we was in agreement with what she said we should do, and we did it. And I didn't see a big deal. Like, what difference did it make if whether we
were trying to get Naziyah's name and face out there?
Does that matter? I'm saying, what does that matter?
We wanted to get Naziyah's name and face. We was actually just happy that someone actually wanted to talk to us and put her story out there on the news. But like Kiwana said, she's not a social media person. I'm a private person as well. That's me personally, as well as I'm private for other reasons in my life. So that was another reason why I didn't want. Like I was telling you the last time we talked, I had to change that.
Right.
Like, I'm like, I had to take a different approach on things because people are asking, well, y'all weren't saying nothing all this time. Why are you saying something now? Because I had to take a different approach. As much as I want to remain private and depend on, like the police and things to get the word out there and do things or whatever, I was like, you know what? You're going to have to suck it up and go ahead and start talking because a lot of the things that have been on social media are not true.
A lot of stuff that was being done and said, we didn't agree with.
Wasn't being done and said, I didn't agree with. I was been in contact with an attorney, and the attorney told me, you need to separate yourself from the money.
Yeah.
You need to separate yourself from the propaganda, because if we do decide to do anything legally, that's not going to look good if you're a part of it.
Right. Yeah. And not saying no names, but, it was law officials telling us to stay away from
from
the podcast. They didn't want any part of it. Let me just say that. Okay. I don't know what they think what was going on here, but what we were being told was to stay far, far away from it. Okay. Because to them, not only was it looking messy, but it wasn't good as far as the investigation. Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Once Detroit police got their hands on that case, they took off as far as what they need. Listen, Detroit Public School Police had already done the whole the phone, text messages, and so on. And when they got those messages and they got that stuff, all the fussing we were doing that this case should be on y'all desk, y'all don't have the manpower. Well, that's when she said, you know what? Boom, this is too much. And that's when they handed it to Detroit Police. Okay. Once they got the case, all that stuff that they had already got their hands on from Detroit Public School Police, they were not looking for a live child. Not from the beginning. They were not.
Yep.
They were not.
In the beginning, like when she went, like for instance, she went missing on the 9th of January.
Right.
We didn't find out until that Thursday, which I believe was the 10th, on a Facebook post that night. On the 11th, I was on the phone at 8 a.m. talking to Detroit Public School Police, trying to find out what's going on. Do you want me to try to reach out to her? Do you have a contact, a social media link or something like that? Because I haven't been in touch with the child. Right. I explained to them about the history that was going on in the household, the CPS reports that was filed, and all of that stuff. Kiwana also contacted them.
Sure did.
Every 4 to 5 business days, we were contacting them to get updates. The lady offered us flyers. She said, no, we have not heard from her. At one point, she basically told me that you're not even her guardian. I'm not even supposed to be talking to you, because she basically told me what her grandmother said she's missing. I told her, no, something's wrong. It's been over, a week. Like, no. So we just kept hounding them. We was like, okay, we're going to take turns calling, because Naziyah still had not been home. No one had heard from her. They were telling us she doesn't have social media. I'm like, yes, she do. And I was saying, I'm like, this is an old social media she has. I don't know if it's still active, but she's on social media all the time. Well, with more investigating, they found current social media. That's how they found all the TikTok videos. Because I wasn't on TikTok. I only knew that she had a Facebook account.
Right.
Then they were saying, well, she doesn't have a phone. I'm like, yes, she do have a phone. Her mother told me that she had a phone. They don't know she has a phone, but she has a phone. Well, she does, it was just a lot of, like, they were saying one thing, and we were like, yeah, that don't make sense. Like, this is not what I'm being told by other people in the family.
Right.
So after a while, she got frustrated with us and basically said she wasn't supposed to be talking to us. We wasn't her guardian. And then the next thing we know, I called her. She said, well, the FBI Michigan State Police were taking over or something. And I'm like, okay. And then it was February 14th, and that's when we saw Annette on the news. So I can't remember exactly when or how. Well, that was when I talked to Mark. He did some exposure. He got us the news interview. He introduced us to Tamara Liberty Smith. We talked to her. She had us come down to a community meeting with Detroit police. We went to the meeting. They ended up pushing us out the meeting because it was live.
Right.
We brought up her name. They pushed us out the meeting. We ended up talking to the detectives over the lead, over to the homicide division. The next day, we ended up going to talk to the lead detective and giving a statement. And a lot of that information that we gave Detroit Public School Police and to the Detroit Police Department is what led them to where they were at. They had clues, but we helped, like some stuff they didn't know about. And it was like, oh, so that's the reason why people are out in Clinton Township.
Right.
Well, do you know this address? Oh, okay. Well, you took that information and it just kept on going from there. So when we were calling, asking questions, they said, you don't need to do anything. It's a recovery effort. And I'm like, what do you mean recovery? She said, unfortunately, this is grave conditions.
Sure did.
And we was like, oh my God. Especially
we let that be known.
Doing the searches. Like it was said that nobody even started searching for Naziyah until May. They were searching for Naziyah before the 14th. They had executed warrants. They would start doing the helicopter and water searches the next day after night. Everything that they did was not being televised. And everything that they did, we didn't even know about. 99% of the time, we didn't even know about some of this stuff until we saw it in the news or somebody tagged us in a post just like everyone else. But they were doing searches early on for Naziyah in February. They did the Clinton Township search in March. They did a couple executions of a warrant in February. They did water searches in February. One reason why they kept on going back to that one location because water rises and falls. Yeah. So it could change the elements. If it's down lower, they could see something else. If it rises, it could bring something from the surface, and they had to keep going out there to see if anything changed or anything had fallen. Sometimes the conditions weren't appropriate. I know they went to do that water grid where they actually walked through the water.
Yeah, I remember.
It was the water was frozen. We got like 0-degree temperatures in February, January and February after she went missing. So the weather conditions weren't appropriate. They were always searching for Naziyah. We just didn't know about all the searches. Yeah, we didn't know. But that's something I've been.
And they didn't want us to know, especially
they didn't want us to know because
down the line they didn't want anybody to know because the worst thing you can do during an investigation is let people know what's going on because you're giving people who involved time to clean their mess up. If you want to find the person, you don't go and let the bad guys know you're being looked for. They're searching. You don't
already 30 days behind. They was already 30 days behind when they started.
Yeah, and they were already behind. Absolutely right. Yeah, because again, they didn't have that case over, right?
So that's right. They didn't hit it over.
Until they see everything we was hollering about. Oh, baby, once she got those receipts back on her desk, that's when she said, "Oh no, this is too big for me." But lady, we've been yelling that the whole time. Like it turned into screaming matches. Like, hello, why do you got the case, ma'am? It came down to her saying, "Well, Annette said," like she didn't believe us.
Yep.
We were the ones enforcing Naziyah Harris was not a runaway situation and that it needed to be further investigated. And we were the one that connected the blues clues because we were not backing down at all. We were not backing down.
So we did a lot. I mean,
we did.
It's a lot of stuff that people don't know we did. It's stuff that I know I did. I don't even remember because I just was never, every time I heard something, I recorded it. Every time somebody would give me some advice, oh, well, you should write a letter to this person. You should email this person. You should contact this community advocate. I've even talked to people in my family about this situation, and they would guide me. At one point, they were willing to talk to one of the children, but the child didn't want to talk to them. I couldn't get a hold of the child to talk to them. So,
and that was the issue we were having with getting custody, that we couldn't get. I mean, they had power over us. Of course, the children lived in the house. You strike. The kids already scared. You tell them, you run your mouth, this gonna happen, and they got to return. They thinking they got to return home. I mean, you just never know the mind. Like I said, the mind of a child.
And we were dealing with all of this.
Angry about that. We like, of course, we were let down and we wanted it to go the way we wanted it to go. But I mean, what do you do?
And we was going through all of this.
The kids for being scared
to come to Naziyah going missing and trying to find her safely, to dealing with drama. And it was
drama after drama. We haven't even had a chance to properly just, that's what I'm upset about. If we really want to be honest and clear, because I don't think I've been this honest. And a lot of people say, well, why when we talk about this, why we like the last not bring anything up while we on your time, lady. But I think the questions of, why when they bring those subjects up, they don't talk about it. We just want people to understand, for us, it was bigger than us. It was bigger than being insulted. It was bigger than being lied on. It was bigger than being dragged. It was bigger than them trying to come in between me and Janelle. It was bigger than that. It was about Naziyah. It was about her. And we wanted that light to shine on her. The light that she didn't get, while she was walking earth, you know, of course that's not what we want, but that's what we're dealing with. We wanted that light on her. And we set aside our emotions. I think that I've never learned how to set aside my emotions so much, honestly, until this situation occurred. And I'm gonna say this: there's a lot of chatter about who did what and what did who. Well, I'm gonna just be straightforward. Okay, Jernell started this. She started. If she hadn't went to Mark, who had no knowledge of this, that, and other, he wouldn't have had a story of Naziyah. Okay, if she hadn't stood on 10 toes against her sister, her own nieces and nephews, to do what needed to be done for those children, it never would have happened. All I did was follow suit when I heard about it. Oh no, we're not doing that at all. And anybody that know me know I don't play that when it comes to children. Anybody that know me, an ex, any person, human being walking planet Earth that you can mention about Kiwana, I don't play that. So of course, oh, let's do this, Jernell. But if that's the question everybody want to know, I think that she deserved that credit, because hell, she gave me the strength to say, okay, you know what, I was a mess. What am I lying? I was a mess because this was my aunt. Okay.
Yeah, she wasn't.
I don't want to go against her, believe I was suffering from Stockholm syndrome. Okay, if we just want to be clear, and it was her that kept me. You know, you got it. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be all right. You got it. It's times where I started to beat myself up, like, yeah, oh man, like, you know, this my aunt, and you know, I mean, I didn't let that stop me from my journey.
Yeah,
of trying to help, but
it's difficult because, you know, like, what I have to second guess myself. I'm like, maybe I'm maybe I'm overthinking. You know, I don't know this little girl who made the accusations. You know, maybe. You know, it's Shannon, because, you know, Shannon, them, even though they claim they contacted the police, they always said, oh, well, the kids lied.
Right.
And I'm like, well, maybe I'm over exaggerating. You know, I don't know this child. I don't know her background.
Right.
But then when I would hear more, I'm like, well, why is y'all not doing nothing about this? And y'all didn't do nothing about that. Mm-hmm. Like, it just got to be too much.
Yeah.
And
yeah, just the constant excuses for Jarvis, because she even said that when he told her out his own mouth that he went to prison for whatever he had went to prison for, she like, okay, I'm giving him a second chance, and the little girl lied, or the teenage girl, I believe it was the teenager he was with. So she was just making excuses for Jarvis all along, Shannon.
Yeah, and I will never understand what like I told you, this ain't the Shannon that this Shannon.
Yeah,
it's not the Shannon
at all.
Pre-Jarvis.
Yeah.
Do you think she was on any type of drugs? Is Shannon ever known to do any drugs at any point?
Not that I know of. This Shannon this is not the Shannon that I know.
No, because I knew a Shannon that, you know, kept her daughter's hair up, kept them dressed cute. You know,
even the best for her kids.
Yeah, even when she didn't look like nobody, the kids did. And so
enjoy being a mother and taking care of her kids and stuff like that. But
so yeah, I never thought in a million years that this would be the outcome. I mean, even the punk making reports. I mean, the stuff that we've learned thus far, like after, I never would have thought. Never that this was the type of book that was being opened. I knew that he was a weirdo. He had a background. You know, Shannon was dealing with him. We were upset. We were making calls, you know, to different, you know, CPS attorneys, so on. But I never would have thought that we were talking about a serial SO. I never would have thought that.
So, how was Shannon and Roxy's relationship? Like, how did Roxy and you know, how was their relationship growing up, Kiwana?
So as far as Roxy and Shannon is concerned, I can say that in the earlier years, I don't believe that they had as much as a relationship. Now, Kenya, on the other hand, which is Roxy's mama, she was always in my Aunt Annette's life. Like, they were always bestie cousins. They used to go out together. Heck, the car Auntie Annette had was because of Kenya. You know, the vehicle that she has now, that's because of Kenya. So they were bestie cousins. Roxy and Shannon were very much close prior to January the 9th. They were talking regularly. They were having conversations.
After January 9th.
Even after January, they were still, you know, having conversations and talking and so on.
Oh, okay.
I was getting frustrated, you know. That's another story. But yeah, they were definitely cool. Absolutely.
Why do you feel like he was getting frustrated at that point?
Well, because I would say stuff. Go ahead, Janelle.
It's one thing, you know, like that's your cousin. But when your cousin, like cousin, sister, brother, mother, whatever, I'm not co-signing your bullshit.
That's right.
Like, the family, a lot of people in the family knew what was being said about the situation with Jarvis. Mm-hmm. When Naziyah went missing, it was already coming. It was stuff circulating on the internet about what was going on with Jarvis.
Right.
On the 18th of February, Mark had put all the details out of what was possibly going on and where Naziyah was at or missing or what was caused. And you're still talking to Shannon.
Right.
Not to say, hey, what the hell going on? But y'all just cool.
Yeah, they were very much cool. And Roxy was in Detroit. She was in Detroit for the New Year's parties. She was in Detroit at family members' functions. I was at a family members' function with Roxy. I was at that function. One of my auntie Net's children were at that function, and other family members that was at that function, plenty of us. And this was New Year's Eve. You know, my birthday is January the 3rd. And so anytime New Year's Eve come around and New Year's, my birthday, January 3rd, it's self-explanatory. You know what I'm saying? And she reached out to me, like, you know, come to the party. And I showed up. You know, I wasn't gonna go because I wasn't feeling so good, but I ended up going. Prior to that, she was at another part. So I'm saying that to say that Roxy was very much in Detroit, Michigan, and I didn't understand why she's saying why. It's almost like she was trying to say what we were doing, and we were here, and I was like lost, even on down to that very live you were talking about. I was trying to get on to get live because this is what I wanted to talk about. Like, you know, Roxy, what's going on here? What is that? What are you talking about? You were here. I never seen the problem with her saying that she was in Detroit. But I guess if you blaming us and saying what we were doing, and you were in Detroit, in all the allegations everybody knew about, we were already in movement. It wasn't like, oh, Naziyah's missing. What are we gonna do? We were already fighting. We were already calling CPS. We were already trying to get the kids. When it came out, we never stopped. When it came out in September by Roxy's mom dropping the receipts on Facebook, we never stopped. So we didn't understand why we were under attack for, like, what were we doing? Why was our face covered? Why everything we did, it was blown up on podcasts. And I couldn't understand that for the life of me. And I never wanted it to be a back and forth, okay? Because again, this is about Naziyah. And it, you know, again, that hurt me. It really did. It took a lot of people to say, you know, I understand you don't want to talk about this, but you need to. You need to talk about it because yes, this is happening. So here we are.
I reached out to Roxy multiple times. Yeah. I reached out to her before she did the live. I reached out to her while she was on the live. I sent text messages. I left messages. I reached to her afterwards, and she has yet to have an adult conversation with me. Right. Everything going live.
Everything.
Nice. So for the record, Roxy was in Detroit January 2024 before Naziyah went missing.
Yes, ma'am.
She was here after Naziyah went missing.
Yeah, she was here after Naziyah. She was here before Naziyah. Yes, absolutely.
Was it January or in between September and January, or just January?
She was in and out of the city, from what I understand.
Yeah, she was in and out of the city. Absolutely, she was in and out of Detroit. Yes. She has certain particular family members that she goes see all the time. All the time.
Like, around Naziyah's time, I was told by one of the family members that Roxy was here in December, New Year's Eve. She had a party because this particular family member was supposed to come to my house for New Year's Eve, but they was like, "No, I'm going over my cousin Roxy's."
Yep.
Oh, okay.
And after the 9th, this cousin also told me that Roxy was here the month of January multiple times before Naziyah went missing and after Naziyah went missing.
So did Kenya and Roxy do any reaching out to authorities when she was in town?
I have no idea.
I've never heard of that.
I've never heard of them. But the thing about it is, after Naziyah went missing on the 9th, Roxy didn't get involved until after the 18th.
Of February?
Yeah, February.
So basically the investigation and everything was already in motion. They had had the evidence that they needed.
We had already told them everything we needed to know. We already gave them the names. We had already spoke to the lead detective. Roxy didn't speak to the lead detective until she told her to go home when she was on Indiana. That was the first time she had any interaction with her.
I know she was upset. She was highly upset. She didn't show up for support. She showed up to say, go home, or you finna have a problem, and take all your people with you.
Because she actually had contacted me first, like, why are you guys on Indiana? And I'm like, we are not on Indiana. I'm at home. Kiwana's with her children. We are not on it because she had been talking to us. Like, we were giving her leads. Like, we was on text message with this detective, like giving her anything we heard, we was telling her. And then she said, well, I'm on my way to Indiana, and I hope y'all not over there.
Yeah.
So when she got over there, she saw the Roxy, and she said, Roxy, she asked Roxy who she was. She said, I'm Naziyah's cousin. She said, on what side? She said, on her mother's side. She said, what's her mother's name? She said, Lady. She said, no, what's her mother's real name? She said, Chantel. She said, no, you need to go home. She didn't even know her real name. She didn't even know Naziyah's mother's real name.
Wow. And what was on Indiana again?
That was when it was a whole fiasco about somebody on Indiana having something to do with Naziyah's case, and it had nothing to do with anything.
Yeah, there was a psychic by the name of Tammy. She did a lot of dragging us as well and putting lies out there about us as well.
Like, they gonna break. Somebody gonna break. They gonna go crazy until they do. And I mean that with every being of my soul. I mean that. They gonna go crazy. And if you don't see it, you got a little bit of the day. They should have shut up. Why would you get on here running your mouth? You're going to go crazy.
However, her and Roxy, they had this adventure as to the clues of Naziyah. And she's seen her here. Tammy was saying, I see this, I vision that,
Yeah.
she's here, she's there.
Tammy, for some reason, how it started was, people saying, you need to talk to Tammy, you need to talk to Tammy. So I think Mark had showed Roxy something on the live, and the next thing I know, they said that Roxy was over there where this house was at on Indiana. Then the next day, I think that Roxy talked to the psychic, and they didn't hit it off right for some reason. I don't know why or what happened. So people kept on saying, was the Tammy, y'all need to talk to Tammy, somebody need to talk to Tammy. She said she don't want to talk to Roxy or something. I'm like, well, what happened? So I talked to Roxy briefly about the situation, and then I said, well, I'm gonna just reach out to the lady, see what she say. And that's exactly what I did. I reached out to her. I listened to what she had to say. Kiwana was on the line with me. We talked to her a little bit, but then I started receiving she started asking more questions and she was giving information. Yeah. And then after everything was said and done, the next day she called me, and then she said she was gonna channel Naziyah again later. I'm like, okay. And then I started getting messages from people, don't talk to Tammy, sending me all this stuff about like it was a scam or whatever. And I had already decided, like, okay, well, I don't need to talk to her. So she got upset with us because, well, me particularly, because I wouldn't respond back to her messages and I wouldn't answer some of the questions she had about the case, about who this person is and who that person is. And then one of the things I said, why don't you ask Naziyah?
Right.
So she got mad.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that makes sense. You're supposed to be able to channel,
So she went on her platform and tried to say, well, we had something to do with it, and we were lying and we were in on it and stuff like that. Well, some of the stuff, I wasn't gonna.
Now, Janelle, I like you. Why didn't she ask Naziyah?
Tell you regardless. A lot of the stuff I wasn't gonna tell you because I knew it was involved in the investigation.
Right.
And then I received all this information from people who I don't even know, just out of the blue, sending me stuff about you need to look up Scammy Tammy on TikTok and all this different stuff. And I'm like, well, I had already made up my mind that I wasn't going to talk to her anymore. I just discontinued the communication, and she said we ghosted her, and I was like, so you mad because I stopped talking to you?
Right. Like
I'm like, okay.
All right. And at first
I was, when she started saying all this stuff about us, I was like, this is ridiculous. I'm not about to argue about this. I got more important things to do. But then eventually, I guess her and Roxy started talking again, and she was back following the leads of what this person was saying. And it went on from there. And I just sat back and I got several phone calls from family members and people like, why are y'all over there doing it? I'm not over nowhere. I am at home.
That's right.
Kiwana was like, well, she's someone, let's go. I said, you better not go over there.
You sure did. I was like, at first I was like, well, do I go support my cousin? But, my thing was, it was the things that was happening. It's one thing to gather folk and everybody going to search, but when you doing like all this gangster stuff on Facebook Live, it don't go together. You know what I'm saying? It's like peanut butter and marshmallows.
Like she was going to people's houses looking at cars and that looked like blood and all this different stuff.
They were being accused of murdering Naziyah. And
it's having something to do with Naziyah. And that's when things really went left because she called us like after all this stuff was down. I guess Mark had told her people was upset about the videos being up. That Roxy needed to take the videos down. She eventually took them down. So I'm assuming, okay, great. She took them down. We ain't accusing nobody or nothing. We don't know because we don't know. We're not the police or whatever. I could have seen if you gave the information to the police and let them investigate it. But she went over there and did her own thing or whatever. Then Mark told her. He also told me, he said, well, I asked her to take the videos down because people haven't contacted him. Because they didn't like that the videos were up. So they were down. So fine. Well, then I think that was like on a Thursday or Friday. Well, that Sunday, she called me and I don't even know how we got into the conversation, but basically what I remember the conversation, she said, well, why didn't nobody tell me? And I'm like, tell you what, that I was in danger. I was like, oh, I thought you knew. Because I'm not about to go knock on nobody's door in the city, no city, let alone Detroit, on Indiana, on the west side, in that neighborhood, asking no questions about what color is the sky blue. So I couldn't understand that. Like she was really upset because my family had contacted me to get from over there because they know what type of neighborhood it is.
Right.
A lot of stuff it's kind of sketchy over there, and you don't know who you're talking to. So they were telling me, are you up? I'm like, I'm not over there. But I assume when you go do something like that, you would,
fully aware, you're in it up.
Right. But by the time I was made, well, first of all, I wasn't really made aware. I knew it was sketchy. That's the reason why I went over there. Mm-hmm. I know that area was sketchy. You can look on the videos and the pictures, it was sketchy over there. That's why I wasn't over there knocking on doors and going into abandoned houses. That's why I never did it, because it's not safe at all. Regardless if you got a gun on you or not, it's not safe to be going in abandoned houses. Somebody could fall through the floor. You don't know who in there or what might happen to you at all. Group or no group. But she just basically told us, well, why didn't nobody tell me? And I'm like, oh, I didn't know you didn't know. Like,
right.
And like, my thing is, I'm going to do. I don't need nobody to tell me what to do and what not to do. Even when I'm doing something that I probably shouldn't be doing, I'm an adult and I'm doing it, and I fully accept the consequences of it. That's the reason why I'm not the type of person to tell another grown person what to do, because I believe at 40-something years old, well, at least I'm 40-something, Roxy's not that age yet, but still at an adult age, I know what I'm getting myself into.
And then, like you said, this is Detroit. You know, everybody knows in Detroit, you got to be careful in certain neighborhoods now. That's, you know, we know the spaces and the places, you know, as far as cities. I mean, I can name a few. If I was to travel to or be in, I would know I need to be careful.
You know what to look
outside
for.
of Detroit.
You know, and then if you're accusing this person of this type of thing, what's to say you're not going to be next? You know what I'm saying? So that's what was, and then after that, that's when all the social media stuff, her going live and saying all we did was pick up the phone. And I'm like, oh, so she mad at me because I didn't tell her that she shouldn't be doing that. Well, Detective Jones told you, the lead detective told you. We got everything we need. You can go home, which they had told us several times before since February 2024 that they did not need us to do any searches. It was okay for us to pass out flyers and keep her, you know, people aware of what was going on, letting them know what she looked like. But they really were not believing that they was going to find her. But I guess to appease the family, keep on passing out flyers. And then that's, so at that point, that's the reason why I was like, okay, so if y'all saying this is a recovery effort and these are grave conditions, and you giving us flyers, then why ain't nobody been charged? Right. That's when I came up with the thought, like, we need to protest in front of the police precinct or the police headquarters or in front of the court, the 36th district or something like that. Because if you're telling us we don't need to do searches and all this, well, why has nobody been charged? So we ended up organizing the protest. And as you can see, it was probably about 5 or 6 of us at every protest. Out of all the family members who knew, out of all the people who know. And kind of one reason was because we had got hush, but we would tell a lot of people like we knew personally about what was going on and we were having a protest. But we stopped advertising on social media because we didn't know who was coming. And, you know, when they was doing those big searches, a lot of things happened because everybody was coming and some people wasn't doing it for the right reasons. And things were getting vandalized and it was just a mess.
Thanks. So it was your idea to do the protest?
Yep, I said, well, maybe we need to start protesting because it's like, why nobody's charged, but y'all don't want us.
Yeah, it was her idea. It sure was. She mentioned it and she said we should do it. She did.
It seems to me everybody has gotten paid off the side, except Janelle. I like Janelle.
We're just trying to determine where we were going to do it. Was we going to do it in the police headquarters, 36th district, or CPS, or where were we going to do it at?
Right.
Justice, family demanding answers in the case of Naziyah Harris and hoping for charges.
Where is Naziyah? Where is Naziyah? Where is Naziyah?
Kiwana is Naziyah Harris's cousin.
My nickname for her was Pretty Eyes. That's what I called her.
But it's been 4 months since she's seen those pretty eyes or the 13-year-old girl's smile.
What's really hard is not being able to give her a proper homegoing as she deserves.
Naziyah was last seen getting off the school bus on Cornwell at 3 Mile on Detroit's east side, January 9th. Police have scoured the city and other Metro Detroit communities in their exhaustive search. Her family is struggling, but still praying that Naziyah might still be alive.
There's reason for us to believe that the worst, but we're trying to hope for the best.
A possible lead.
About because we figured Kim Worthy is the person who office is the one who would bring charges. So we figured we just go straight there. It didn't really make sense to go to the police headquarters because they were actually doing the investigation. Every single lead, even far into the investigation, I think it was like July or probably about July, I got a tip. Somebody said they had seen Naziyah at a grocery store, at a liquor store. I messaged the lead detective. It had to be 8, 9 o'clock at night. She was like, I'm pretty sure it's not nothing, but if it makes you feel better, I'll go over there. They were doing everything. Every lead that we gave them, they followed.
It was absolutely, and I must say that we were just frustrated because we weren't hearing anything. We start hearing, and that's when we learned why we weren't hearing anything, because to them they didn't want nothing on social media because it's an investigation. They had already had Jarvis, so we had no reason to go. Now they had Jarvis for something totally different. However, they were building a case. That's what they were doing. Jarvis been locked up since what, February 7th?
Yep, it's February 7th to 24th.
So
but yeah, it was like, and it was like when they would tell us stuff, it would end up on social media.
And they didn't want that at all.
And that's the reason why they stopped talking to us. Just like after Kim Worthy read the charges. Now we had been to court, all the other court things, like anything else we could go to court for.
Right.
No problem. Walked right in. When they got ready to arraign him, they put 8 guards around us. Sure. And we could not, they tried to limit who could come in the courtroom. And I was like, well, what is all this about? They put 8 guards around us. And then later come to find out it was because they were concerned about all the stuff that they had been seen on social media. And they thought that we were the ones who was causing the uproar, at the going into the neighborhoods, killing people and, different things like that. I have never seen them put 8 guards around a family to sit in arraignment to watch someone be charged for the death of their loved one.
Right.
I've never. So and then they were trying to tell us, well, who is immediate family? Only immediate family can come in. And we had like public officials there with us, and they was like, "No, we've been down here since 10 o'clock.
We coming in.
Everybody coming in. Like we supposed to be down there 10. They didn't do his arraignment till like 2. They say, no, everybody coming in. We've been down here since 10 a.m. waiting for this arraignment, and then they finally let us in. But when they let us in, they went and got other guards to stand around us. So when we were leaving, I'm like, we ain't never had no guards around us no other time. Why all of a sudden we got guards around us today? Oh, well, you know, there's been a lot of things said about what's been going on social media and the behavior that's been presented. I was like, I wasn't even there.
Right. I'm like, she stopped me from being there. So, yep, I wasn't there.
I wasn't even there, and nobody who was in that group had been to any of those to those searches.
Right.
I'm just thinking like this don't make no sense. It don't make no sense how they was handling y'all, like y'all were the.
But I kind of just brushed it off because they didn't know who was who and what was going on, you know.
All they knew was what they were seeing, you know.
But thank God, you know, the lead detective was there, like, no, this is her family, Tamara Liberty Smith, she was there or whatever, you know. So it was people who identified. So everybody ended up getting in. I don't think anybody was left out. But that's the reason why they brought all those guards around. I couldn't even see because there was guards in front of her.
I was like, I can't see nothing.
Like
I just sat there
the whole time.
Right.
So that has. Go ahead.
I was a stressful situation.
Yeah, I could just imagine. So back to Kenya. Was she there at the protest ever? And did she have any involvement as far as getting justice for Naziyah?
No, she wasn't at none of the protests.
I know she passed out flyers with Roxy.
And I'm asking because Kenya is one of the main people that has been very vocal on social media. I've heard a lot of her interviews on TikTok and on Facebook as well. She seems to be very vocal about you and Kiwana's position and what you've done and things like that.
So I don't even watch the stuff that I do.
Might I ask what you heard?
Yeah, I haven't watched any of her interviews. I've seen bits and pieces, but
me too. I've seen bits and pieces. Was it like in a negative light as far as Kenya?
Oh yes, of course. It was in a negative light. I feel like most of it was directed towards Kiwana.
Came about because we figured Kim Worthy is the person who office is the one who would bring charges. So we figured we just go straight there. It didn't really make sense to go to the police headquarters because they were actually doing an investigation. Every single lead, even far into the investigation, I think was like July.
I've heard Kenya say things about Kiwana being mentally challenged. Her wanting Mark. She's mentioned that you wanted Mark and you asked Mark, even said that you asked to go to his house at one point.
Yeah, that's what I called to check him for.
You can kiss my ass. No.
Well, Kiwana might do that now. She on here. Kiwana, where you at? Mark wants somebody to kiss his ass.
Shout out to Spiritual Detective. She got all the ducks in a row.
She might kiss all parts of you to keep on.
That's what she sounded like. She wasn't on the phone.
Not no motherfucker in the goddamn seat.
That's the phone call me and Janelle was on a three-way about. And I checked him about that. And
was this recent? Was this early on or what was? I don't know, girl.
That live was. I'm not sure right now of the date, but I know it had to be sometime a few months ago. So.
Oh.
Yeah, it was.
And again, I that hurts me. That hurts me because, first and foremost, these are my family members, and after everything that I felt like me and Janelle had done and we had been through, it would have been great for them to be supportive and to come along and support us and support me. I don't understand what the energy was, and I still don't. Because Kenya know that I came to her just to have a conversation. She know that, and Mark know I never flirted with him. So I don't even know why. And then, they hadn't even known this man for 3 months. Okay. We're talking about blood cousins. It just sounded like it was a malicious attack. Because what blood cousins will sit on a platform with a man that they hadn't even known for 3 months and let this man lie on their cousin? I mean, I don't think I would have let that happen with my worst cousin. I would have been like, hold on, wait a minute. You know what? That this I don't even want to know, first of all, whatever y'all had going on. But I'm not gonna sit on a platform and dog out my own family.
That's just like with Shannon. We're not gonna sit up and let nobody say nothing that's not true about Shannon. Like,
we don't agree with nothing she done. What really hurt? I'm gonna tell you what really hurt. This one hurts me the most. Kenya and Roxy weren't in a good space and place. Kenya disagreed with Roxy's relationship with her wife, not just because it was a woman and she doesn't agree with same-sex relationships, but also because she's a European woman. She does not like white people at all. And I went to Roxy at this New Year's party. And I said, during the conversation, I said, Roxy, that's your mom. And I lied to Roxy. I lied. And I said, your mama told me she missed you. And she know that. If anybody was to look Roxy in the eye and say, if your cousin said that, she wouldn't be able to keep a straight face because she was laying on my shoulder crying. And I told her, your mama said she missed you. So I went on an adventure to get her and her mother's relationship back good, because I lost my mother. And that's a pain that, you know, it's a pain that's, you can't describe the pain. And if I could do anything, I would go back to those moments and I would just say, you know what, Mama, no matter what we went through, no matter how we went through it, let's just work this out. If I would have known that, I would have had last moments to never get that chance again. So I did that from my heart. I mean, from a deep down. If anybody ever did something from their heart that they went outside of themselves to do, that was one thing that I did. And I went to Kenya and I told Kenya a lie. And I said, Kenya, your daughter said she misses you. And she want to see her mommy. And of course, Kenya was saying all the nasty stuff that she was saying about, you know, the girlfriends, the wife, my apology, being white and being a girl. And I told her, you need to be supportive. It's your daughter's decision, what she do with her life. If you can't tell somebody who to love if that's what they love, you know. And she said, okay, you know, I'm gonna give it a try again. I swear I ain't with none of that. She don't bring the girl around me. I'm fine. Okay, she ain't even allowed in my house because I don't like them people. And the family members know I'm not. If you ask family members, they know this about Kenya. So I'm not making this lie up, and I'm not sitting here even trying to be malicious. I'm just so saying, if she was watching this right now, I would say, how dare you that I went outside of myself. I don't even have my mama to mend you and your baby's relationship. That's a loyalty that she should have never given away for a man that she didn't even know. That's something that, if that was me and a family member did that for me, I would give them my loyalty to the day I left Earth, because that says a lot about a person's character that just want to see people come together no matter what it is. So I was very hurt, and I'm still hurt. The fact that they would go to such limits to speak badly on me. I've never done anything to deserve that. I've never done anything malicious to Kenya. I've never done anything malicious to Roxy. My whole family warned me to stay away from Kenya, and I didn't listen. And people were blowing my phone down. I'm not even gonna say names, but even the cousins that she thinks she's talking to was calling my phone saying, I told you so. I'm not gonna say names because I won't put them out there like that. Male cousins, female cousins. I told you so. So here I am feeling like the big fool that I took a chance with her. You know, I took the chance when all the family said, no, she's this type of person. She's like that. She's gonna stab you in your back, Kiwana. You know, I took a chance. Okay. And with Roxy, same thing. I took a chance. So I don't know why they would do that. I don't. And my feelings still hurt. You know what I'm saying? Outside of me being from Detroit, and we can buck if they wanted to, but that's not something that I would choose to do, because I'm trying to grow into being a woman here. And anybody that know me would know, whether I lost, whether I won, I'm gonna get my respect. Okay. And it's been a lot of respect that's been broken that I didn't deserve and she didn't deserve. I don't even. They couldn't even tell you why. They couldn't give you a logical reason why they attacked me or why they attacked you. What? Because we blurred ourselves out on the news. That's the reason for you to go and dog out your family member to a man you don't even know. That my closest person when it got to shed light on the story, and we were already out here putting out. I mean, as far as the movement trying to help the children.
Yeah, because people was contacting me like, why are they doing that? You know, because I wasn't responding. I wasn't responding to Tammy. I wasn't responding to Roxy or none of that. I wasn't responding to any of it because I was just like, oh, yeah. That's what I'm gonna do. I tried calling her. Well, I tried calling her because I saw the psychic stuff going on at first, her bashing. So I was trying to call her to see like what's going on, like why is all this going on?
And also in that same live, Tammy, the live that I'm speaking of, it was just Roxy. Tammy showed up in the comments, the one where Kiwana was asking to be let her in on the live so that y'all can do it. Roxy. Yeah, this was the same live. Yeah.
You probably saw me in the live too, but
it was so many people saying let her in. I mean, there's 50 people saying let her in the live because like
they would let her in. If you make a comment, they were deleting it.
Yeah,
like if you say something, they would delete it.
Yeah, so that's kind of questionable to me too, because it's like if you can get on live and slander somebody on live, you should could at least let them come up if they asking to be let up and just clear the air. Just whatever it is, clear the air. But she didn't want to do that.
As adults.
And as adults.
She had my phone number. Roxy had my number. Yeah, what did she say on one of the live? I talked to Jadelle every day for 3 hours a day. I don't know how she did that because I was on the phone with Kiwana.
Sure was. But see, I told you.
It was one time we did have that we did have a long conversation. Right. She was trying to get all the information that I knew.
Right.
We didn't have a long conversation. But other than that, I still got all you can look in my call log and see it was short text messages and brief phone calls.
Right.
Except for that one time.
It was her way of trying to come between me and Jordana.
But if you had a problem with me, not only did I call you before, during, after, text messages, and I'm pretty sure the last straw was when I left the voice message. I don't think it was very nice, but you have seen me in person.
Yep, sure have.
And have not said one word to me.
Sure have.
Wow, didn't even want.
What was that? My friend sent me that girl trying to get in touch with you. Oh, she sent me the screenshot. Janelle CPS want to talk. Girl, you got my phone number.
Right.
You got my. You know my social media. You got my phone number. And if you don't have that, Google me.
That's right.
If you don't have that, ask Mark to get in touch with me. I've been since he was 14 years old. Absolutely. If you don't know that, you probably could have asked Shannon and Marquita, what's her number?
Right.
Or anybody else in the family, my nieces and nephews, what's your auntie number?
Right.
She could have got in contact with me. So people was like, well, you didn't respond back to Roxy. Why would I respond back to a Facebook post that I need to see? Because we are no longer friends on Facebook. Right. She has other ways. That was just weird to me. Like, maybe you took my number out your phone. But you showed no my name on Facebook. You show no Mark. You show no other family members who I talk to on a regular basis that you could have got my number from.
Right.
You could have got my number from Tamara Liberty Smith.
Sure could have.
Yeah.
Because we were talking on a regular basis throughout this whole process. We talk on and off. She was even trying to get us to make amends. And I told her, it's beyond talking now. I'm not that type of person. I tried to reach out to you. I tried to clear the air, resolve the situation, and find out what was the root of the problem. You didn't want to talk.
Right.
Talk time is over. Not saying there's any beef or anything like that, but I don't even know Roxy like that to have a conversation with her. That's not my cousin.
Right.
I don't know her. Like I said, I know Kiwana. I know Annette. I know Shannon. I know her. I know Annette's children. I know Shannon's children. I know the other people know. I knew Kenya. Kenya was around when I was a child. Like, I think the last time I seen her was when I was 14. Well, no, I saw the graduation, but prior to that, I was 14 years old.
Right.
So it's been a while.
She has multiple ways to contact her. Absolutely.
Like, I don't even talk to my own sister. So why would I try to be in a relationship with you? We never had a relationship. I tried to be cordial with you. You continue not to slander me one time for no reason, but 2, 3, and I don't even know how many other times since that situation when you could have called me and said that on the phone. We just see each other in person. I'm not about that's. They call me cutoff queen for a reason because I'm not about to tolerate no disrespect. No, I don't have to be friends with nobody who disrespects me. I don't have to be cordial with you. I can sit in the same room with her.
Yeah.
But that's the type of person I am. But when we have a conversation, oh wait, you didn't want to talk when I tried to talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
Talking time is over. Like I said, in another post, I wish you well in your endeavors. We are both supposed to be working towards the same goal.
Absolutely.
We just on two separate paths.
I agree.
And that's good. That's cool with me.
That's fine. I agree.
Okay, so her organization, Roxy, has nothing to do with your plans for your organization for Naziyah or anything like that. It's a done deal.
No.
Or did it ever at any point?
This is something that Kiwana had been talking about before Naziyah even went missing. She wanted to start an organization.
Okay.
She had been, dealing with some other stuff, so it didn't get off the ground. But this is something that she has been talking about for a very long time.
And a lot of people know that. They know Kiwana.
Yep. So I told her I would, with my, my field or whatever, I would back her in whatever it is that she wanted to do. I kind of know a little bit about it because my husband did have a nonprofit at one time. So yeah, I was gonna support her, but we've been doing stuff. People just don't know. We had a meeting the other day. With some officials from we were able to join in on a meeting the other day. Yes. Some officials from CPS. And they were able to guide us. And like I've been writing letters, sending emails. I've been in contact with representatives. But people wouldn't know that because I'm not gonna
broadcast it.
Like broadcast. I mean, like
it's like Naziyah's birthday. Honey,
we did nothing for Naziyah's birthday.
I meant to ask y'all about that too, because we the public would like to know what
we passed out cupcakes
at all. And I went to Roxy at this New Year's party. And I said, during the conversation, I said, Roxy, that's your mom. And I lied to Roxy. I lied. And I said, your mama told me she missed you. And she know that. If anybody was to look Roxy in the eye and say, if your cousin said that, she wouldn't be able to keep a straight face because she was laying on my shoulder crying. And I told her, your mama said she missed you. So I went on an adventure to get her and her mother's relationship back good because I lost my mother. And that's a pain that, it's a pain that's, you can't describe the pain. And if I could do anything, I would go back to those moments and I would just say, you know what, mama, no matter what we went through, no matter how we went through it, let's just work this out. If I would have known that, I would have had last moments to never get that chance again. So I did that from my heart. I mean, from a deep down. If anybody ever did something from their heart that they went outside of themselves to do, that was one thing that I did. And I went to Kenya and I told Kenya a lie. And I said, Kenya, your daughter said she misses you. And she want to see her mommy. And of course, Kenya was saying all the nasty stuff that she was saying about, the girlfriends, the wife, my apology, being white and being a girl. And I told her, you need to be supportive. It's your daughter's decision, what she do with her life. If you can't tell somebody who to love if that's who they love, And she said, okay, I'm gonna give it a try again. I swear I ain't with none of that. She don't bring the girl around me. I'm fine. Okay, she ain't even allowed in my house because I don't like them people. And the family members know I'm not. If you ask family members, they know this about Kenya. So I'm not making this lie up, and I'm not sitting here even trying to be malicious. I'm just so saying, if she was watching this right now, I would say, how dare you that I went outside of myself. I don't even have my mama to mend you and your baby's relationship. That's a loyalty that she should have never given away for a man that she didn't even know. That's something that if that was me and a family member did that for me, I would give them my loyalty to the day I left Earth, because that says a lot about a person's character that just want to see people come together no matter what it is. So I was very hurt, and I'm still hurt. The fact that they would go to such limits to speak badly on me. I've never done anything to deserve that. I've never done anything malicious to Kenya. I've never done anything malicious.
Roxy followers were there.
Yeah.
Some of the people okay. They were there. We passed out cupcakes in the area. I went and got cupcakes. It was with our schedules, our time, but we came together to try to do something for Naziyah's birthday. We do have plans for Naziyah's birthday.
Sure do.
As of this year.
We got a brother. We got a brother out there. He was out there.
Our brother was at the passing out cupcakes to the community and flyers and stuff. But we've been doing a lot of stuff that a lot of people just don't know about. And one reason is because I find it easier to get your point across when it's not a lot of people yelling.
That's right.
So it's just been the two of us. Sometimes it's just been me, and then we come together, and we actually got some good feedback the other day at the meeting. And we're going to follow up on those things. We have a meeting coming up in Lansing in a few months, not only to start the organization, but also to try to get in with lawmakers to try to change policies and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
We've been talking to some of the mayor candidates for mayor in the city of Detroit, as well as the current mayor. So we've been talking to people, but these type of people don't want all that mess. So we can't get involved in that mess.
Exactly.
They're not going to take you seriously.
No.
You're doing all that mess. So, and a lot of people was asking us like, well, was you involved in this? And, well, why are they saying it just is about this about you? One of the representatives from, I can't remember her name.
Yeah.
She ran for mayor, Sheffield. One of her representatives asked me blatantly, like, well, what is this about this? They asked me, and I had to explain to him. And he's like, oh, I understand. And we've been in touch. So
yeah, because that type of behavior comes off very unprofessional and messy, you know.
Yes.
So I can see why you wouldn't want anything else to do with Roxy or anybody else that's associated with her.
I just want to focus on the endeavors that Kiwana. I want to back her on her endeavors with her program. I'm in, like I told you, I'm in school. I've been working with talking to people in my job in the community, the mental health community, getting leads. I have many friends who work in human services that haven't given me leads. I got friends who work in the justice system. We have family members that are in the justice system who have been guiding me and helping me since 2022.
Okay. Oh, because that came up too, Sherwan, about you having connections and things like that, and why nothing was done or why more wasn't done. But I feel like you're using your connections the way it needs to be used. That's
right.
just my personal.
That's right.
Yeah.
And she has since the beginning. She has since the beginning. You know, and Roxy, I don't recall her saying it. It's like, child, you don't know who I know. I know some people in high places too. But guess what? We gonna put what we do together, and we don't have to be broadcasting it. We don't have to be putting it out there. You know,
because every time we broadcast something, somebody else pick up on what we talk about, and they gonna try to do it too.
That's right. Every time we talk about something,
it's great. You know, we're not the only first and last people that start an organization or
I agree.
Go for or put out a petition or anything like that. But it's like, why you didn't think of it before we thought of it?
Right.
And if you didn't get the idea until someone else brought it up, why you got to slander what they're doing?
What they're doing?
Right.
Why not make it? You know,
for what you're doing?
Yeah. Why try to tear us down instead of being like, you know what? Let's do this like this. Y'all do that. I do that. We come together.
Right.
We do this.
Yeah, that's what it is. The collaboration.
There you go.
Right? Yeah, that's all I was thinking. Like, where's the disconnect happening here? I thought they were family or cool enough to, you know, work together.
We did the protest together. I thought I never expected any of it.
You know, and
I moved past it. I've moved past it because you know what? I know it's been more difficult for Kiwana because those are her blood relatives. You know, me and Annette are half sisters, so I don't really know all of her family. I just know the ones that were around when I was allowed to be around the family.
Yeah.
And me and Kiwana are closer in age. We were in Annette's wedding.
We've been
like know each other, so I know her like more than I know the rest of the family. But I know it's difficult for Kiwana, but it's not that hard for me. You know.
Yeah, it's very difficult. You know, it's very difficult, and
that's crazy. I never knew Janelle was Annette's half sister. Spiritual detective, shout out to you.
And it's always been like, you know, I don't know how to even put it in words as to what I feel like she was doing because it's very weird. You know, there's people that care. You know, I'm not gonna say the whole family just didn't care. It's almost like it's nobody cared. And I can't say everybody's social media. You know what I mean? For those that follow Roxy and Kenya, yeah, they knew. I've said that. I've always admitted that. But then, you know, it's family out of town that don't use Facebook. You know, it's family that you know, I can go on. You know, so you can't just say everybody. You know what I mean? For those that get a pass, it's those that don't because they know and they know who I'm talking to. But then there's those that you can't even bring them in because they really just didn't know. You know? They don't got social media. They don't talk to Kenya. They don't talk, you know what I'm saying? They all, you know, they out of state or out of city. They don't know.
They didn't know into all the social media.
Yeah,
and I feel like I did the best I could do. I had to come to terms the other day when I talked to one of the representatives from what was the Children's Advocate Network, and she said you did everything that you could have possibly did. Unfortunately, the laws need to change.
And she's so right.
She said, unfortunately, she said this is not the first situation. She said you did exactly what you were supposed to do, but the law is if there's no significant evidence of abuse or the children do not admit to the abuse.
Yeah,
they were not going to do anything. And then we did. I don't know if you saw the article Monday night where the reporter did, and she explains to me how they have on the record, like say for instance, you call CPS, they vet that call and determine whether or not they're going to even send it to a worker to be investigated. So a lot of them are just being said, oh no, that's not that serious.
Right.
So and I didn't even know. I thought all calls got looked in. She said, you know how many calls they get a day?
Right. People making false allegations. That happened to me personally. People make false allegations about me. So I can just imagine how many.
They do not look at every single call. And then she, like another friend who works in that industry, she had told me, don't call us yourself. Make an anonymous call. Because after a while, they're going to start just vetting your call to not even send it through because
you keep calling.
Thank you, baby.
Right.
So that's a big issue. But like the lady told me, she says it's not just CPS responsibility, it's also the school system's responsibility. She said you have spoke to the police, you have spoke to CPS. She said, but I'm pretty sure the school noticed some things.
Right.
And then she said, let's put it more importantly, the people inside that home noticed a lot more or knew a lot more. And then she said, if they had came forward with what they knew, would you be an outsider of the home? Yeah. They like, and especially when you're being told that, you know, you're at odds with each other and things like that. Oh, she's just making a false report, you know, things like that. So she made me feel understand. Like I was like, was it more I could do? She was like, absolutely not. There was nothing more that you could do but make the report.
Right.
And she said, you continuously made the reports.
Sure did.
So she said, unfortunately, this is a problem. And it's not didn't just start with Naziyah.
Right. Right. But it need to change with Naziyah. Absolutely.
She told me, she said, just keep going because a lot of people this happens, families this happens, so they just get past the court dates and then they leave it alone.
Right.
Yep. So she said, just keep going, work for change, write letters, show up at different meetings. So
and do the footwork. And y'all been doing the footwork.
And I'm not gonna stop. Like Kiwana and Barbie, like I said, we got a meeting in a couple months.
Sure.
We've been talking, they gave us a whole list of things that we need to do to have the reports that were made investigated.
Right.
If there was anything that was missed in protocol.
Right.
So
Yes, they should, because it seems like it was a lot missing protocol.
Yeah, and I'm sure they're doing their own investigation, but she said we need to file because, like I asked, what are the people who report rights? Like, what right do I have? If I'm telling you something you find it unsubstantiated, what right do I have to be heard because I'm telling you that something is wrong?
Exactly.
You don't really have a right as a reporter. You can you can make the report, and sometimes they will send you a copy of your part of the report, but they will not always tell you what happened on the other end of the report. Like, I didn't know that Shannon had lied.
Right.
And basically they said that none of this, what I said, had happened.
Right.
I didn't know that until the investigative reporter got that information.
And another thing, how can they go about really questioning the children to make sure that they're not answering, against the allegations out of fear? Like, it's got to be another way that they can go about this and just not assume because the environment is clean and they, they look like they well kept. That doesn't mean that abuse is not taking place in the home. Like,
yeah,
I agree.
Just like we were told that the video of them getting ready for school and being verbally abused and then having to pray, that happens in the Black household.
That's a normal thing. Yeah.
I don't know about them, but I didn't get that in the Black household every day.
That's not in every Black household. That's in toxic households.
Yeah, now I got my share of fussing at and spanking and stuff like that, but I have never ever been treated like that. And then on top of that, I had to pray, and then with the prayer, was trying to say the prayer, was so scared to say the prayer, I was fumbling. I've never.
And then go learn after,
Yeah,
right.
Have a good day.
How many years have we been seeing that post on social media? Don't yell at your children before they go to school. Expect them to have a good day, to be productive, and be good students and things like that.
Right.
I don't know. But they say that happens in our household every day. It don't happen to men. Like, I don't. I fuss at my kids, and I got boys. I fuss at them, and I get on their case. But have I ever about a coat and then say, "Come on, let's pray"?
Right. And now y'all have a blessed day. On top of that, like, no. Right. So just a few more questions, y'all, before we close out. So I know we're getting into.
It's getting late.
Wow, yes, it's late. The chains on the refrigerator. Did either of you ever see those chains on the refrigerator? And what's the point?
When I was growing up, the chains were on the refrigerator.
Yeah, the chains been there forever.
When I was growing up, the chains were on the refrigerator.
Because Kenya said she never seen them. She's never seen them.
Kenya was over there more than I was, so I don't know. I saw.
If you went to Auntie house, you saw them chains.
Especially after they moved from the first address. The first address.
The kitchen right there where everybody.
Yeah, the first address I never saw it, but I don't think she had as many refrigerators.
I want to address the chains on the refrigerator because, if I'm not mistaken, it was Marquita's boyfriend, the one that spoke with Mark D. He even said the chains were on one refrigerator, which that refrigerator was Annette's refrigerator that she kept her steaks and you know how all the good food. And I guess that food the kids wasn't allowed to eat. I don't play that in my household. If me and my boyfriend or anybody eating steaks, my kids definitely eat them before we do.
Second address. I'm trying to think. Was I the second? I can't keep up.
Yes, that's the one with the back porch. That's when we was there all the time.
Yeah.
So Marquita's boyfriend mentioned that she only would feed the kids certain food, like hot dogs, very like cheap quality food.
I've been saying that for years.
Would that be the reason for the chains on the refrigerator to lock up the quality food?
And that's another thing to bring up. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, Shannon had told me that sometimes like to keep the kids from overindulging. I guess you know how kids are. You buy a 10 pack of fruit snacks to last a couple of days. They go eat the whole box in one day. And as well as from what I understand, one refrigerator was hers and the other refrigerator was for the children and like extra. And then another refrigerator was for they were rationed out food. And then Shannon used to tell me like my mama cooked ribs and steak and all this, but the kids only had hot dogs.
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, I remember that as a kid. I used to be so mad. I would call my mom. I'm like, come on.
I don't know. I got treated a little different. You can ask Annette's oldest son to this day. He tell you, oh, you got treated different.
Yeah.
Like me and another cousin who was around, who's a boy, y'all got treated different. And he puts his ass being because we like him, but I got treated different because my daddy didn't play that. Like, so
you think she was trying to make sure that she didn't be at odds with your father because y'all had the same father, right?
We had the same father. No, it wasn't even at being at odds because my daddy really didn't have a close relationship with her. It was you're not gonna treat her like you treat your kids. Because he knew how he treated. He used to get on her about it. Like, why are you yelling at them kids like that? Why they can't come outside and they cleaning up? What he said? What possibly could they have to clean up all the time? Stuff like that. He just didn't agree with that. But she was an adult, and he just didn't like the way she would treat the kids. And then sometimes like spankings was a little excessive. I remember one time she kind of grabbed me, and I told my grandmother, and he came over there and he told her, "No, you don't." He's like, "If that's how you want to discipline your children," he was like, "Do that." But this man, he said, "I didn't do you like that." He said, "So why would you do her like that?" He said, "I told you about the way you treat these kids." He's like, "You don't always have to yell and spank kids. He was like, "And how do you, his thing was, how do you expect a child to be productive and have good behavior if they don't have any type of reward in place? Like simple things, just being able to go outside and get an ice cream cone."
Yeah,
right.
Like my daddy was a daddy that if he got me an ice cream cone and he saw kids sitting because their mama didn't have no money or something like that, he was gonna buy them an ice cream cone too.
That's right.
And he tried to be in their life, but he couldn't deal with it.
What about you, Kiwana? As far as how do you feel about the food situation.
Yeah, same. You know, because there was a lot of talk about the kids starved and so on. It's not that they didn't eat anything; it's that they didn't eat. You know, for instance, the big brother. You know, he played football. You know, my son played football. You know, the boys come home from playing sports. They want a full course meal. They want to eat. They don't want no noodles and no hot dog every day. And so it was a lot of fuss about that. You know, I would get calls. You know, and that's where the cash apps came in from. Myself, me, Janelle, our other cousin. You know, because we understood where they were coming from. You know, when we could, we did. You don't want to eat noodles every day. My kids won't even eat noodles. Okay. I eat some noodles. You know, but I'm gonna do some add on. I'm gonna put some tuna. You know, put a dustle or something off in there. But yeah, children don't want to eat noodles and processed hot dogs every day. They want to eat food. And she would eat, like she said, I remember times that she would go out and get a whole meal. I mean, smelling good. You know, I've never done that with my children. When I ate, they ate. I've never done that with my children. And like, even if in the event I went out and ate with some adults and came home, I was bringing them pizzas or something. They wasn't gonna just feel like they was just left out and they got to eat noodles. So I didn't know anything about that type of life, because and it was just like, what is going on? You know,
right?
I understand that because I don't do it with mine, and my children have never had to ask me to enter a refrigerator. They were never, and I'm talking about none of her children. You know, because I was raised as one of her other daughters. I wasn't like the niece. I was constantly around, and in her home, I've lived when I seen that. You know, that's the horse of another story, of another color. But I said all that to say, you know, I didn't know anything about not being able to go into a refrigerator because I was used to being able to go into our refrigerator whenever I wanted to, and it's not even funny, but it's like, what? I don't do that with my children. You know, it's their food. If I'll tell them straight like this, if you run through it, that's on you. Hell, my kids been grocery shopping since, you know, eight years old. They would, okay, this is our list, mama. This is what we getting. You know, so
like the comments, like you said, dang, you let your kids make their own grocery list. Yeah, I buy food for dinner and breakfast and lunch. Then I let them say, this is the type of cereal I want. This is the type of chips or cookies or candy I want. And I'm like, okay, I'll buy it. Now this is your snacks, and this is gonna last you until the next time I go to the grocery store. So if you heat it all up, it's all gone. But of course, you know, you go out and buy some more if you got, you know, extra funds or whatever. But the things when I had interactions with the children, I mean, like some of the stuff just broke my heart. Like, which I'm pretty sure it's other children, but to me, it's like unusual. Children who have never left the city of Detroit. They have never been to the state fair. They have never been to the zoo. They've never been. Well, they did eventually go to a movie theater. They have never been out the state of Michigan. Another thing was, you cook dinner every day,
right?
For me?
No, that's what they
said to her.
When the children in my house, and they said, "Wow, your mama cook dinner every day."
Oh, they were surprised, and I thought that was a normal thing too.
Yeah, I mean, some days you might be tired. You don't cook, but you cook dinner every day. That stuff like that. Oh, you get to pick out what you want from the store.
Yeah,
I took one of the kids on a trip with me, and they say, "Wow, where we at?" I said, "We in Ohio. This is a whole nother state." We went to a hotel. Is this your house? You know, like that's kind of stuff for a lot of kids. You know, even if it's not often, a lot of kids these days, you know, they got it better than we did when we was little. You know, they get to experience a little bit more. And that used to just break my heart. They didn't get to have basic pleasures or you know, oh, my mama gonna buy me an ice cream or a McDonald's or you know, they didn't get that.
Right. Because I mean, even in times when you can't afford, you know, a McDonald's. I mean, you got some burger. I know this sounded Eddie Murphy like, but you got some hamburger in the freezer. You know what I mean? You got some onions.
You gonna cook a good meal.
Put the fries out. You gonna set it out. You know, let's make McDonald's. You know.
Now to hear these ladies talk, I kind of spare the grandmother and that, because sometimes grandmothers are just trying to survive, especially when she was a foster mom. But after hearing these ladies talk, and Janelle is her half sister, she ain't got a reason to lie on her. I think not only Shannon, but the mom need to be charged with, if it just even child abuse in the Naziyah Harris case. Shannon and Miss Annette definitely need to be charged with something. I don't care what it is.
But they don't know anything about that. They just don't.
And I just want to comment on that too, because I feel like even if you are a single mother or, you know, raising kids and you don't have a lot of funds, I feel like you should make do the best you can.
Yeah.
You know,
even if it's just the holidays, like sometimes you know how you cook for Thanksgiving and Memorial Day, Labor Day.
Yeah.
That's not all the time.
And just having a loving environment. Like, even if you are on assistance and things like that, and you got a little this, a little bit of that, like, kids remember the environment in which they lived and how you made them feel, you know? So even if, you know, I just believe that mothers and caregivers, we have to just be more mindful of how we're showing up for our children and, you know, what we are doing for them and how, you know, how we express love and things like that. It's just a whole thing that needs to be addressed. But yeah. So I don't know if you want to talk about the Sierra girl. Who is Sierra again, y'all? Sierra?
That's my sister.
Okay, that's
my other sister.
Okay, that was my last question about Sierra. She was with Roxy on a podcast, and basically it looks as though her and Roxy were in cahoots at Tear You Down in this particular. Have you heard about that?
Said that. I never said that. That's why I had to make a whole ass post. They called. They did A, B, C, D, and E. Nobody took them seriously. All I did was like, damn, what the fuck going on?
I know that. You even asked me and Bibi what was going on. You heard my story. You listened to me. You was on the phone.
When I came, Janelle went too long.
You said, "Oh, that shit not right." Right. How about somebody in the
I was calling everybody.
Something ain't right.
I was calling everybody. I called you. I called your other sister. I called your other sister. I called your brother. I When I get
They
here,
get mad at Auntie Kia.
a month later, there's nothing going on. Like, that's crazy to me. It's wild. It's wild as fuck. I don't give a fuck about followers. Everybody can unfollow me. I don't give a fuck about. I don't care. I don't care. I don't know why the fuck I came here early in February. I don't know why. Shit moved like that. But it moved like that. Tiwana and Janelle, good job by going to the courts, by calling CPS, by calling DPS, and by calling her. Good job. Okay, I'm proud of y'all. It started. Y'all started it. There you go. There's your recognition. There's your hug. There's your cookie or whatever the fuck it is that you are looking for. You know, again, I didn't watch the whole thing, but I watched enough to see. I think it was very tasteless that she would go get my sister. Because believe me, every calculated step she took it on purpose. You know, this wasn't about let's shine light on this, let's shine light on that. This was solely about don't let me forget Janelle what I'm about to say about Lady, because you know how sometimes I get to talking. That's my younger sister. What she said as far as she told me, that's a lie. She was an adult woman when she told me.
And it was tastefully what Roxy did, but I will say, because that's a family dispute. They know each other better than we do. But I will say, when Roxy came around, I don't know how I should put that. Hell started being raised. So whether she did it tastefully or classless or whatever, she did get the ball rolling. I mean, you guys started the ball, but she made sure that sucker rolled faster. And I'm not hating on her for that, but yeah, everybody's entitled to their own opinion.
And not only was she an adult woman, she was still in Shannon and Marquita life. She had never left their lives. I mean, they were bestie cousins. Okay. So I don't know why she would get on there to tear me down. I'm the last person she should ever, never, ever try to tear down. Okay. I'm going to say that. And the rest I'll leave for when I double back and have a real conversation. Not that this isn't one.
I get
but,
what you're saying.
But yeah, I'm the last person she should be trying to come forward in any type of way. And she mentioned what I did to her in the beauty supply. I absolutely did. And she knows why. But see, she didn't get on the platform to speak about that. And she didn't get on the platform to ask for forgiveness or any of those things. It was an attempt to tear me down, like you said. And you know what? Source don't like ugly. Believe you me, it didn't take long for her to understand and recognize that. So that's what I got to say about that. That was a lie. She was 23 years old, 24 years of age when she brought it to my attention. I don't have a likes for my sister. She's my mother's daughter. And she knows why. But when she brought it to my attention, I did express to her, what she needed to do. Since she was telling me, out of all people, I told her what she needed to do, and she didn't want to do that because she was close to them. And she did not just say Shannon. I wasn't just told it was Shannon. I was told it was Shannon and Marquita, and I was told a complete different story.
And so, for the record, Sierra had basically allegedly said that she had been molested by Shannon and Marquita.
Yes,
correct?
That was the story. Okay. I was told. Yes, okay. And I was told that Marquita was the one that gave her a half-assed apology. So I was in confusion. Hey, that's her story to tell. Fine, right. But don't try to bring my name up because you shouldn't be bringing my name up, not at all. And I'm okay. Yeah.
And you say something about Lady, because we didn't get a chance to really talk about Lady, but if you want to say something about her, that's fine too.
Yeah, just real quick, not even so much that, just it was always, again, going back to the maliciousness. It was always something, a shot towards me. It was not like I'm doing this for this, empowerment here, this there. It was, I'm doing this, nan. Even with Lady, Mama P is someone that basically like godmama my cousin Lady, and she fed Lady, let Lady take showers. Her daughter would pay Lady to do work.
This lady was a child when Lady started.
Okay, absolutely. Now, and we were all downtown at that protest that Janelle said we should do. We were down there, and that very day, Mama P came and approached me and was having a conversation with me about Lady. She know who I am. She recalled who I am. Again, I grew up with them, and she was, spitting some things in my ear. We were conversing, and Janelle overheard it, and me and Janelle and her started talking, But the other two, as far as Mark and Moxie, they really weren't supposed to be in a conversation. She wanted to specifically speak to me. She didn't want them to know what she was talking about. But myself and Janelle was talking to her, and I was talking to her first. But of course, Janelle was there. She's talking. We all talking now. Mark and Moxie was brought into the conversation, so it turned into okay, let's go and have this this moment of trying to talk to Lady. Okay, so everybody that was out there protesting, even the few followers that was out there that had been following Moxie since the beginning of time, they were there. Again, I didn't watch the whole thing, but I watched enough to see. I think it was very tasteless that she would go get my sister, because believe me, every calculated step she took it on purpose. This wasn't about let's shine light on this, let's shine light on that. This was solely about don't let me forget Janelle what I'm about to say about Lady, because you know how sometimes I get to talking. That's my younger sister. What she said as far as she told me, that's a lie. She was an adult woman when she told me, and not only was she an adult woman, she was still in Shannon and Marquita life. She had never left their lives. I mean, they were bestie cousins. Okay, so I don't know why she would get on there to tear me down. I'm the last person she should ever, never, ever try to tear down. Okay, I'm going to say that. And the rest I'll leave for when I double back and have a real conversation. And we were all on this adventure to go and talk to Lady, which it wasn't a conversation for them, but they were brought into it anywho. Everybody's on their way to go talk to lady, right? And we were all on this adventure to go and talk to lady, which, right, Kiwana brought everybody in a conversation. Okay, let's go and talk to lady. Child, they left us. Mark and Roxy left us. They left me for sure. They left everybody there. They even left Janelle sitting in an area that she wasn't familiar with, what didn't feel safe to her. But finally, she got a pickup on the phone call. I
didn't get a phone call. I drove around until I saw the car.
Right, my bad.
They were already in the backyard.
They were already in the backyard talking to the lady. I'm texting, where y'all at? How y'all gonna leave me? And I'm the person that invited y'all. How y'all?
And her and ladies is like sisters.
Yeah,
her and lady are
sisters, not cousins. So I'm trying to get to lady. Child, by the time they finally Mark texted me back, we get something to eat. We doing this, we doing that to throw me off, but they already in the backyard getting pictures of lady. Yep. I never would allow that to happen. She was at her worst moment. You know, I got plenty of pictures if you want to see lady when she let pictures that's not on the internet, might I say. So you know, I was upset about that. First of all, why you leave us? Secondly, why you trying to take all this credibility? You know, because once I synced it on once I was told about it, rather, it was, you know, me and Roxy, we did it together. It was me and Roxy. It's like, what? So Janelle went on there and commented, and then she said, thank you, Mama P, and for, you know, blase, and thank you, Kiwana. It was a shared effort, so on and such. But they weren't going to say shout out to all of us putting the effort to take time out their day and run their gas to whatever we felt like that moment was going to be. No, they wanted all the credibility. So I said all that to say that this has always been what it was. It was like, whatever extent I got to go to knock you down and get you out the way, that's what I'm going to do. And even before that, Roxy, no, she was the one that called all the family laughing about lady drug habit, saying that lady just called her for $20 and she's a crackhead and ha. You know, so she was like clowning lady. And I can call cousins on the phone right now that was on that phone call. Because she had called us on the freeway, like, yeah, lady called me for $20, girl, bad. She worked it all the way down to 10. And it's like, you know, now you so concerned. Like, you know, that's why.
One thing I will say is I have not liked how lady has been treated. Lady has been through things in her life, and you can tell that. And my heart goes out to her. Everybody is fighting, fussing over Naziyah. What about her mama? Her mama probably is in a hole so dark she can't even come up out of. On top of her addiction. So yeah.
Well, I don't understand coming from that and everything that we know, that I know, that she know. It's always getting weird. Like, while she was attacking me, I felt like I was under attack on the internet, and it was like, why? You know where I live. You know, if you need to see me, you can see me. Why are you doing all this on the internet? Time out their day and run their gas to whatever we felt like that moment. Why? It didn't make no sense.
Right.
So, yeah,
so it's almost like they was exploiting lady, and especially in her the way that she was, how she was looking and stuff like that. She wasn't at her best.
Never.
Right. I was like, they said, come on, let's get a picture. I said, what we need a picture for? And I just walked away. I said, lady, we don't need no picture. But she took it.
Yeah, she took it.
So it's, all this has been a big distraction. I just want people to focus on Naziyah, not how we got to this point, not the mess that happened during this point, but just focus on Naziyah. We got a court date coming up.
March 7th.
You know, remember my son showed me the thing. Remember, do I want a cookie? So my son went and bought me some.
Oh, right. Well,
like, they said you want a cookie. I was like,
oh my God.
You know, that's his way. He's a comedian. And then he was like,
but you know what?
So the other one that he told me the other day, he was like, when the next court day, Mom? I said March the 7th. And he was like, oh, is we gonna get a conviction on March the 7th? You know?
I wish. We all wish.
Yeah, I wish or whatever. But it's just funny, like how people just try to make a mockery of you to throw you off.
That's it. That's the word right there.
Throw you off. I still kept on moving, and
she did. It kept me going too, Janelle. You know, and I
just kept on moving. For that. I didn't care about that stuff, but you know,
it just seems so aggressive though. Like me on the outside looking in and listening to it, just seeing it's come off really aggressive. That's not the energy that I get from Kiwana or Janelle. Even from the time I heard y'all on the community advocate platform, I just never really got that y'all were.
When we did that, a lot of the stuff we didn't know what we were going to talk about, but it's never been to be like say what she did was you know, it just wasn't my cup of tea.
Yeah,
right. You know, I didn't want to partake. I partaked in what I wanted to partake in. I did not partake in what I did not want to take in. Sometimes it was just because I didn't have the time, it wasn't available. But a lot of times it was just because I didn't feel that it was necessary, especially after the police told us. And then sometimes I just didn't feel that it was necessary because it was inappropriate. So but not to say, you know, that it wasn't appropriate for me.
Right.
And Miss Janelle, thank you. Thank you for having so much class from the beginning to the end of everything that has been revealed with Naziyah, from you reporting children being touched in their home before anyone else did, to now that you've been bashed, you're still stepping out with class. And I think a lot of people don't, when they're saying Roxy is this, Roxy is that, no, Roxy is classless. Now, she may have Naziyah, best interests at heart, but she's just classless. And so again, thank you, Miss Janelle, for having and keeping class from the beginning to the end of this whole Naziyah Harris case.
Yeah.
I never
especially
mind.
with dealing with Tammy and being led all over the place on the adventure, as Kiwana would say, and with the girl Mimi as well, where
we heard a lot of mess about that. Like
Roxy popped up at the location where Mimi was as well.
Yeah, then Mimi, after she got out of jail, all the stuff that she had said, and we was like, because when she got arrested, I was like, damn, well, Roxy there too. And then after Mimi got out, she started telling her like what had really happened. And I'm like, well, dog.
Right.
He did the same thing with the other guy the other social media guy. He was saying things too, and we was actually siding with Roxy. And then now we thinking like, well, dang, did he? Because he got in trouble